Chapter 302. In the flying rainbow grotto heaven, the heaven and earth spirit chi was extremely rich. In some places, the spirit chi had even condensed into a spirit spring. The sacred altar of the flying rainbow sect stood at the core of the grotto heaven's secret realm and was surrounded by a spirit chi lake. Spirit chi filled the air and the dense aura made the place look like a fairyland. Only those who have perfected the Tao of heaven and earth have the ability to open up a grotto heaven's secret realm. However, to open up a grotto heaven's secret realm of such a scale, one must be at the Tao integration stage. Tao integration stage, lifespan of 10,000 years, Yuan Zhengshua thought in his heart and was extremely envious. He then took a deep breath and flew toward the sacred altar. He did not dare to fly too fast as he was afraid of disturbing the seniors of the sect who were cultivating in seclusion in the flying rainbow grotto heaven. He then flew all the way to the spirit lake where the sacred altar was located. There was a black palace there. Great-grandfather, great son Zhengshua requests an audience. Yuan Zhengshua knelt in front of the palace. Come in. A leisurely voice came from the palace. Yuan Zhengshua entered the palace respectfully. The sect leader of the Flying Rainbow sect, Yuan Mu, was sitting at the top of the palace. He was a late essence soul stage cultivator. Although he had cultivated for more than 3,000 years, he still looked like a young man. His face was very similar to Yuan Zhengshua's, handsome and feminine. Zhengshua, what's the matter? Great-grandfather, great-grandson is here to ask for forgiveness. This time, in order to deal with the Flying Rainbow Star Trade's competitors, I'm here to ask for forgiveness. In the end, I implicated Uncle Chang and even lost 7 nascent soul stage cultivators of the sect. I deserve to die. Please punish me, great-grandfather. You, sigh. You deserve to die. You're too impatient. You didn't investigate the enemy's situation in advance and acted rashly. Do you know the enemy's strength? I thought the enemy was a late nascent soul stage cultivator. I didn't expect him to be an invincible nascent soul stage cultivator. You've disappointed me. Yuan Mu suddenly sighed. You deserve to die. Yuan Zhengshua was terrified and quickly knelt on the ground. Yuan Mu continued, there's not only an invincible nascent soul stage cultivator behind the Mountain Sea Star Trade, there's also a late essence soul stage cultivator. Late essence soul stage cultivator. Yuan Zhengshua was shocked. Let's put this matter aside for now. Great-grandfather, even if it's a late primordial soul stage cultivator, our soaring rainbow sect doesn't need to be afraid, right? We still have the patriarch. There's no need to disturb the ancestral patriarch over such a trivial matter. What I said was temporary. In the next 10 years, don't target the Mountain Sea Star Trade anymore. Yuan Mu said in a low voice. He was very patient with his most doted great-grandson. Great-grandfather, why is that? In another 10 years, the Mountain Sea Star Trade will really expand. Yuan Zhengshua was unwilling to give up. If they didn't deal with Mountain Sea Star Trade and allowed it to develop freely, wouldn't that reduce the strength of Flying Rainbow Star Trade? That was his capital to compete for the position of the next sect leader. He came back this time with the purpose of asking for help. He asked his great-grandfather to send the nascent soul realm experts of the sect to deal with the invincible nascent soul realm cultivator from the Mountain Sea Star Trade. The 9 Realms Battle of the Tao Alliance that happens once every 10,000 years is about to take place. The sect doesn't have the energy to deal with such trivial matters. Yuan Mu explained. 9 Regions Genius Battle. Yuan Zhengshua's expression changed drastically. Then, he thought of something and asked, Great-grandfather, which of the 3 gates and 6 sects is hosting this time? The 3 gates and 6 sects. Apart from the transcendental sects like Taoism, Buddhism, and Sword Gate, the other 6 sects take turns hosting the 9 Regions Genius Battle. This time, it's Purple Heaven Sect's turn. Yuan Mu said. Purple Heaven Sect. Yuan Zhengshua was fascinated. Apart from the 3 gates and 6 sects, the Purple Heaven sect was the strongest. Great-grandfather, can I participate? The first requirement of the 9 regions genius battle is that you must not be more than 300 years old. Yuan Zhangshua smiled bitterly and said, then I can't participate. It's useless even if you participate. You can be considered a genius in Flying Rainbow Star region, but in Azure Star region, you can't even be ranked, let alone compared to the billions of geniuses in the Tao Alliance. Yuan Mu said mercilessly. He continued, this time, according to the requirements of the Tao Alliance Heavenly Court, our Flying Rainbow sect has selected 100,000 talented young cultivators from more than 50,000 planets. They will be trained in Flying Rainbow Grotto Heaven for a period of time. If one of them can make it out of Azure Star region selection battle, I will be satisfied. Yuan Zhangshua's eyes widened. 100,000 young cultivators selected from more than 50,000 planets couldn't even make it out of Azure Star region? Alright, you can leave now. Cultivate well and forget about this matter. Be careful next time. Yuan Mu waved his hand. As for the death of 8 nascent soul stage cultivators, he didn't care at all. As a late-stage nascent soul stage cultivator, he had long set his sights on the Tao integration stage. Great-grandson thanks great-grandfather. Yuan Zhangshua was pleasantly surprised and quickly left. After leaving Flying Rainbow Grotto Heaven, he looked at the rainbow in the sky. He thought that the 9 regions Tao Alliance would be lively this time. The geniuses of the 9 regions Tao Alliance that appeared once every 10,000 years. Countless geniuses would gather in one place. As for the Mountain Sea Star region, when Yuan Zhangshua thought of this, his eyes were filled with ruthlessness. Although great-grandfather didn't punish him, he had still lost 8 nascent soul stage cultivators. His competitiveness in the sect had decreased. He had to take revenge for such a big grudge. Mountain Sea Star region and that invincible nascent soul stage cultivator. This time, I will let you live for another 10 years. When the 9 regions genius competition is over, Azure Star region, Waterfront City. A late-stage nascent soul stage enforcer from the Heavenly Court's Azure Star region enforcer came to Daoda Manor. Jiang Xi and Jiang Daodu were puzzled. They didn't seem to have done anything wrong, right? Then, the enforcer smiled and said to the 2 of them. Hello, Mr. Jiang Xi. Our commander, Lord Earth, asked me to pass on a message to you. He said that by solving the threat of Flying Rainbow Grotto Heaven for you, he has repaid the favor he owed you last time. Please take care of yourself. After saying that, he left Daoda Manor. He came quickly and left quickly. Only Jiangzi and Jiang Daodu were left behind with faces full of astonishment. Earth? The commander of the Heavenly Court's Azure Star region enforcer? Jiang Daodu said in surprise. That's him. Last time, when I applied for the Azure Mystic Sect's trial, it was Earth who led people to destroy the Azure Mystic Sect. Jiang Xi was also very surprised. Owe him a favor. Just because he gave him the opportunity to destroy the Azure Mystic Sect. After Earth attacked last time, he specifically looked into it and knew about the grudge between Patriarch Qing Xian and Earth. However, Jiang Xi vaguely felt that it wasn't that simple. He shook his head. There was no point in thinking about things that he didn't understand. In short, the crisis of Mountain Sea Star region was temporarily resolved. Although the way it was resolved was very sudden and unexpected, and it caught everyone off guard. However, the outcome was good. Daodu, this is a lesson. You have to plan the development of Mountain Sea Star region properly. Jiang Xi said. Yes. Previously, we took too big a step and didn't have a solid foundation. We have to be steady in the future. Jiang Daodu nodded. We also have to do a good job of internal discipline and supervision. Jiang Xi made suggestions, and Jiang Daodu made the main decisions. The 2 of them reflected seriously. However, they didn't expect a storm to arise. Chapter 303. Year 106 of the New Moon Era, August 6, Planet Sung Lan, Linhai City, Daoda Manor. Jiang Xi was lying on a recliner, basking in the sun as he welcomed the sea breeze. He looked like he had fallen asleep. In reality, he had been chanting in his heart, deducing Dao techniques. At the same time, he was comprehending the inherited memories left behind by his master, Daoist Go. This was his cultivation method. After the crisis of the Mountain Sea Star trade was resolved, Jiang Xi spent the most leisurely 3 years of his life. It could be said that he had never been so carefree before. There were no battles, no worries in life, and no messy matters to disturb him. In his spare time, he would either accompany Jiang Daodu to various planets or return to Earth to guide the young cultivators of the Great Xia Alliance. These days were very comfortable. The only thing that worried Jiang Xi was that his cheap master had given him a deceptive commission. Within 100 years, he had to send the Purple Cloud Sword Manual back to the Purple Cloud sect. He had become Daoist Ji's disciple in year 95 of the New Moon Era. It was now year 106 of the New Moon Era. 10 years had passed. Ever since he had seen the way Daoist Changbai of the Purple Cloud sect did things on Murong planet. Jiang Xi knew that without strength, there was no way he could do this job. Master must be a very simple person. Why didn't he think that if I went to the Purple Cloud sect like this, I would be eaten until not even my bones would be left? Jiang Xi was worried. Even if I cultivate to the essence soul stage, I can't guarantee that it will be foolproof. I have to reach the Dao integration stage first. But after spending countless experience points in the past few years, my Dao techniques have not improved at all. Are the Dao of heaven and earth and the sword domain so difficult to deduce? Although that was the case, Jiang Xi also knew that his cultivation speed was actually beyond the scope of heaven-defying. Many geniuses cultivated for thousands of years before they could cultivate their Dao domain to perfection and have the opportunity to comprehend the Dao of heaven and earth. In comparison, he had only cultivated for 10 years and achieved this. However, the problem was that he was not 100% sure that he could complete the fusion of Dao and reach the Dao integration stage in the remaining 90 years. This was because the difficulty of cultivation in the future would definitely increase. Back then, Jiang Xi had made a Dao oath in front of Daoist Go. If he couldn't complete it, he wouldn't be able to make any further progress in the Dao. The importance of Dao was self-evident. After reaching the Aurus core stage, the advancement of each major stage was closely related to the Dao. If one was restricted in the aspect of Dao, then one's future cultivation would basically be gone. Therefore, it was impossible for him to give up this commission. Just as he was thinking, Jiang Duda's voice suddenly rang in his ears, "Brother. Look, there's a painting in the sky." Jiang Duda was also basking in the sun. Jiang Xi opened his eyes. Immediately, a landscape painting that covered the sky appeared in the sky. It was so huge that it could be seen from the entire blue planet. What kind of divine ability is this? Dao integration stage. Jiang Xi was shocked. The next moment, he knew that he had guessed wrong. Xian Tian and Li Baibai sent a message from a distant galaxy. They also saw the same landscape painting. Big brother and sister Bai are so many light years away from the blue planet. I can't believe there are people there as well. This is not something a Dao integration stage cultivator can do. Jiang Xi was shocked. He thought of a similar existence to this divine ability. The heavenly eye of the Dao Alliance that covered the entire universe. Could it be that this landscape painting also covered the entire universe? Thinking of this, Jiang Xi hurriedly sent a message to Chu Zhe and Qiu Hong, who were guarding Earth, as well as Shen Wanxi, who was handling the Mountain Sea Star trade business on another planet. What puzzled Jiang Xi was that there was no such abnormal change in the sky of Earth. However, a landscape painting appeared in the sky of Shen Wanxi's planet. Brother, Old Yin said that this is the heavenly mountain river painting of the Dao Alliance. Jiang Dudu said at this moment. Then, Yin Tiansheng, a thumb-sized remnant spirit of the Tao integration stage, appeared on Jiang Dudu's shoulder. Young Master Jiang Ci, although I was born in the ghost realm, I have heard of the Tao Alliance's supreme treasure. Yin Tianxing smiled sinisterly. Tao Alliance's supreme treasure? Jiang Dudu was interested. That's right. This landscape painting is the Heavenly Mountain River painting. It's said that no matter where you are in the universe, as long as you have the Heavenly Mountain River painting's approval, you can enter it with your spiritual sense. However, I don't know what it's used for, Yin Tianxing explained. Jiang Ci nodded. He had already found it in Taoist Ge's inherited memories. The Heavenly Eye and the Heavenly Mountain River painting. These two supreme treasures complemented each other and could cover the entire universe. The Heavenly Mountain River painting. Could it be that the Tao Alliance's 9 Zones Genius Tournament is about to begin? Jiang Ci's eyes lit up. He had also found information related to the 9 Zones Genius Tournament after searching through his inherited memories. At this moment, ripples appeared on the Heavenly Mountain River painting hanging in the sky. Lines of ancient words reflected a golden light and appeared in the sky covered by the Heavenly Mountain River painting. Tao Alliance's 9 Zones Genius Tournament, Purple Heaven Sect Qualifications, 1. Human Cultivators 2. Lifespan less than 300 years 3. Comprehension of at least one true intent of Tao and cultivation not exceeding the nascent soul stage. Method of participation: please register at the Tao Alliance building on each planet. Venue: Heavenly Mountain River painting process, 1. Preliminaries will be held in the various star zones of the 9 zones. The top 3,600 from each star zone will enter the finals. 2. The winners of the preliminaries will enter the finals to determine the top 3,600 Tao Alliance geniuses. Rewards: the top 3,600 Tao Alliance geniuses in the finals will directly become 9th Heaven disciples of the Purple Heaven sect and receive a minimum of 100 million low-grade spirit crystals as a reward and the right to enter the ancient Tao origin world. Please consult the Tao Alliance building on each planet for more details. These golden words illuminated the entire universe. Every planet belonging to the Tao Alliance could see the details of the 9 Zones Genius Tournament except for Earth. Jiangxi and Jiang Daodu raised their heads to look at all of this. Their faces were filled with shock. At the same time, Blue Planet, Zhangyan Sect. In name, the entire Blue Planet was under the control of the Zhangyan Sect. However, that was not the case. The Blue Planet covered more than 80,000 star zones. Every star zone had tens of thousands of planets with life. In such a vast territory, the Zhangyan sect only had a little over 1,000 star zones with life. For example, although the Soaring Rainbow Star Zone was also part of the Blue Planet, it was actually under the control of the Soaring Rainbow sect. Inside the Zhangyan Grotto Heaven, the Zhangyan sect had selected 1 million young cultivators from over 1,000 star zones with life. They were gathered together to receive Sect Master Wu Kuei's teachings. In the end, Sect Master Wu Kuei sat up high and his loud voice spread throughout the Grotto Heaven. In the upcoming 9 Realms Geniuses Tournament, if any of you are able to qualify for the selection in the Blue Sky Star Sector, you will be rewarded with 100 vital planets. Immediately, the young cultivators were in an uproar. 100 planets with life. Chapter 304. These millions of young cultivators had cultivations ranging from the spirit vessel stage to the nascent soul stage. They all had Taoist rhymes circulating around their bodies. They were all outstanding figures in the cultivation world of their respective planets. They were very clear. 100 planets with life. It was enough for a cultivator, a family, or a force to soar. The nascent soul genius of the Zhangyan sect, Feng Si, was among these millions of young cultivators. He was also very excited. 100 planets with life was only secondary in his eyes. Feng Si was concerned about something else. This 9 Regions Genius Tournament is hosted by the Purple Heaven sect. If you can make it to the finals, you will have a chance to become a core disciple of the Purple Heaven sect. In the entire universe, apart from the Taoist, Buddhist, and Sword sects, the Purple Heaven sect was the strongest. In fact, the current leader of the Heavenly Court was from the Purple Heaven sect. Once you passed the 9 Regions Genius Tournament and became a disciple of the Purple Heaven sect, even if you were still at the nascent soul stage, your status would be comparable to the nascent soul stage. Although the chances of making it to the finals were very small, so small that in these tens of thousands of years, no disciple of the Tsungyan sect had ever made it to the top 3,600. But there was still a sliver of a chance. On an extremely cold planet with life, frost covered the entire world. A young man with snow-white hair had a frost domain wreaking havoc around him. In an instant, he had slaughtered over 100 nascent soul stage snow devils. At this moment, the skyspan mountain river diagram that lit up in the sky attracted his attention. 9 Regions Genius Tournament. Ha, the chance to become famous in the universe has come. The man laughed wantonly as frost swept across, forming a polar storm. This was a world of flames. A woman in red clothes had flames circling beneath her feet as she swept past countless fire spirits. She devoured the Taoist rhymes contained within those fire spirits. Instantly, her aura grew stronger. The 9 Regions Genius Tournament has begun. Hurry up and register. An old woman's voice came from the depths of this world. 9 Regions Genius Tournament. Ah. Thank you, Granny. The voice remained in place, but the woman and those fire spirits had disappeared without a trace. The melodious sound of a flute could be heard. A young shepherd riding an old water buffalo passed by a willow tree by the lake. The melodious sound of the flute seemed to penetrate deep into one's soul, yet it also seemed to be able to nurture all living things. The willow tree that fluttered in the wind seemed to have a spirit as it waved at the shepherd boy. As for the shepherd boy, he had a bright smile on his face as he waved at the willow tree to show his respect. Soon, the sky-piercing mountain river diagram announcing the 9 Zones Genius Tournament appeared in the sky of the planet. 9 Regions Genius Battle. I can see a bigger world. The shepherd boy's eyes lit up. The willow tree's branches and leaves were also dancing happily. You also support me going? Whoosh, the wind blew. Good. Let's go. The willows rustled gently, and the shepherd boy bid farewell. Each of the 9 realms of the Tao Alliance had 400 star zones, for a total of 3,600 star zones. Every star region had tens of thousands of habitable galaxies. Each life-bearing galaxy contained tens of thousands of life-bearing planets. If one were to make a rough calculation, the number of planets with life was at least 10 trillion. It was unknown how many geniuses these planets had nurtured. Even if a planet produced a young genius who comprehended the true intent of the Tao, there would still be tens of billions of participants. And this was only the minimum amount. A grand banquet of human geniuses in the universe. Countless young geniuses in the 9 regions of the Tao Alliance were in an uproar. With this opportunity, this is my chance to rise in the universe. It's said that the current master of the Heavenly Court is from the Purple Firmament sect. If I can become a disciple of the Purple Firmament sect, I won't have to worry about my future cultivation. One chance to enter the ancient Tao origin world. Once I enter, I have a chance of reaching the Tao integration realm. My enemy is extremely powerful and controls 3 life-bearing galaxies. If I can make a name for myself in the 9 Regions Genius Tournament, I can take revenge. At this moment, Xian Tian and Li Baibai had already rushed back from a distant star system. They had formed the Starry Sky Wanderer team with Hu Yan and had been training in the Pale Blue Star region for the past few years. After countless battles, these two, who were originally ranked first and second on Earth, had now reached the late-stage Golden Core realm. Their actual combat strength had long since reached the nascent Soul realm. Pale Blue Star, Waterfront City, Dauda Manor. Big brother, sister Bye-Bye, are you going to participate in the 9 Regions Genius Tournament? Jiang Xi asked with a smile. The two of them were battle maniacs. They must have rushed back for this matter. Of course. I entered the Tao through martial arts. If I don't fight, how can I improve? This is a tournament where billions of geniuses will gather. The battles will definitely be exciting. Xian Tian's eyes lit up. In the past few years, the opponents we've encountered in the Pale Blue Star region have become less and less challenging. We have to fight stronger battles to continue improving our strength. Li Baibai said with a smile. Jiang Xi chuckled. Don't blame me for discouraging you. There are more than 80,000 life-bearing galaxies in the Pale Blue Star region. Each life-bearing galaxy has at least 10,000 life-bearing planets. Based on the minimum standard of one genius per planet, there are at least 800 million participants. When the time comes, you'd better not be killed as soon as you enter. Kid, don't look down on us. I've already learned that in order to ensure fairness, the participants of the 9 Regions Genius Tournament will have their own consciousness. After their soul consciousness enters the sky-reaching mountain and river painting, the spiritual body formed will have the cultivation of the perfected nascent soul stage, Xian Tian said with widened eyes. That's right. With our understanding of Tao, we might have a chance to qualify for the finals if we're at the same level. Li Baibai was also full of confidence. Jiang Xi smiled but didn't say anything. He didn't continue to discourage them. He had already learned about the 9 Regions Genius Tournament in detail through Daoist GE's inherited memories. This tournament that covered the human race in the universe was not so much a genius tournament as a selection of disciples for the immortal Tao sects among the 3 sects and 6 sects, except for the Taoist sect, the Buddhist sect and the Sword sect. The other 6 sects took turns to host the 9 Regions Genius Tournament every 10,000 years. They selected the most outstanding young geniuses from the human race in the universe and trained them. After all, a race could maintain its strength. Not only did it rely on the top powerhouses, but it also relied on the cultivation of geniuses. Only an endless stream of powerhouses could ensure that the human race stood at the top of the universe. What was the key to becoming a powerhouse? Comprehension. The ability to comprehend Tao. Just look at the announcement of the tournament's qualifications. Other than the age and cultivation restrictions, the most important thing was that they had at least comprehended one true meaning of Tao. The true meaning of Tao was the first step on the path of Tao. The human race occupied a vast territory in the universe and nurtured many Tao geniuses. Xian Tian and Li Baibai might be top geniuses on Earth, but compared to the universe, they were nothing. Jiang Xi wasn't trying to discourage them. Chapter 305. Don't just talk about us. Are you going? Xian Tian asked Jiang Xi. It was obvious that he was not affected at all. You're all going, so how can I not go? Jiang Xi said with a smile. The purpose of his participation in the competition was not to show off. There were 3 main reasons. First, it had been too peaceful recently. Just as Xian Tian and Li Baibai had said, those who entered the Tao through martial arts would never forget the fighting spirit that flowed through their bodies. Second, Daoist Ge had given him a mission, so he had to complete it. If he could enter the top 3,600 in the finals, he would be able to join the Purple Heaven sect. Although he was not very confident, he still had to try. What if he succeeded? Once he entered the Purple Heaven sect, he could find a suitable opportunity to return the Purple Heaven sword manual. It was better than sitting here and worrying. Finally, he had his eyes on the final prize, which was a chance to enter the ancient Tao Source world. In Daoist GE's inherited memories, the ancient Tao Source world was a piece of information that was heavily emphasized. The Tao Source, the Tao Source, the source of all Taos. It was said that one could see Tao techniques there with their naked eyes. The efficiency of comprehending Tao techniques was hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of times faster than usual. I have the experience points panel, so cultivating Tao techniques is not a big problem. The key is that there might be a large amount of experience points there. This was what Jiang Xi was looking forward to the most. Experience points were the foundation for him to improve his strength. Last time on the Murong planet, he had comprehended the Tao of Fire left behind by the Wen clan's ancestor and obtained 100 million experience points. The ancient Tao source world had a large amount of Tao of heaven and earth that could be seen with the naked eye. How much experience points would there be? Just thinking about it made Jiang Xi excited. Others could comprehend Tao techniques, while he could earn experience points. If he had enough experience points, he could even deduce Tao techniques 10,000 times a day. Therefore, in summary, Jiang Xi had no reason not to participate. Apart from him, Xian Tian and Li Baibai Jiang Daodu did not like to fight, and she was currently focused on the mountain and sea star trade, so she did not participate. The Wen clan's siblings were also focused on the Tao of equipment refinement for similar reasons. In the end, only Jiang Xi and the other two arrived at the Tao Alliance building. The Tao Alliance building wasn't too crowded at the moment. This was because although there were more than 100,000 cultivators above the Golden Core stage on the entire Kanglan planet, there were only a few 100,000 of them. However, there were less than 10,000 people who were qualified to participate. Participant, Jiang Xi, Kanglan Star Region, Kanglan Galaxy, Kanglan Planet. Participant, Xian Tian. Participant, Li Baibai. In order to prevent Earth from being exposed, the three of them used their identities on the Blue Planet to register for the competition. After that, the staff of the Tao Alliance building began to examine their qualifications. Age, cultivation, Tao arts. There were 3 items in total. Jiang Xi was 32 years old. He was at the peak of the nascent soul realm and had 2 great Tao domains. Xian Tian was 92 years old. He was at the later stage of the Golden Core realm. His saber true meaning was perfected. Li Baibai was 81 years old. He was at the late Golden Core stage and his true meaning of swiftness had reached perfection. With Jiang Xi and the other two's qualifications, of course, there were no accidents and they easily signed up. When the 9 Zones Genius battle begins, your spiritual senses will be able to enter the Skirich Mountain River diagram through your communication pearls. The staff of the Tao Alliance building returned the 3 communication pearls to Jiang Xi and the other 2. Judging from their qualifications, he knew that these 3 were all geniuses. His attitude was much better, and his face was full of smiles. The 3 of them put away their communication pearls and scanned them with their spiritual senses. They discovered that there seemed to be some inexplicable changes in their communication pearls. Registering here wasn't just for the examination of their qualifications. The staff also had to make special adjustments to the communication pearls of the participants. According to Jiang Xi's understanding, this should be to adjust their network permissions in the Skirich Mountain River. The universe was the public network, and the Skirich Mountain River diagram was the internal network. After that, they left the Tao Alliance building and waited for the competition to begin. The Skirich Mountain River diagram hung in the sky of the planet, covering the sky and the sun. The rows of golden ancient words reflected the billions of planets in the universe. Below the ancient words, there was a row of jumping numbers. Participants in the Kanglan Star region, 7,925. 8,201. 8,846 billion. The numbers were still increasing at an astonishing speed. The first stage of the 9 Zones Genius Tournament was the preliminary selection by star region. Therefore, this number only showed the number of participants in the Kanglan Star region. Finally, when the registration period ended, the number was fixed at 3,519 billion. The Kanglan Star region alone has so many participants. The 9 zones of the Tao Alliance have a total of 3,600 star regions. At a rough estimate, there are at least 1 trillion participants. Jiang Xi was speechless. There were a total of 1 trillion participants in the 9 zones. What a terrifying number. Xian Tian and Li Baibai looked at each other in dismay. Now that they thought about it, it seemed that they had been too confident. As participants, the 3 of them quickly received the detailed process of the competition through their communication pearls. In the first stage, the participants of each star region will be divided into 360 regions after their spiritual senses enter the Skirich mountain river diagram. The participants will fight in spirit form. If their spirit form dies, they will only lose a wisp of their spiritual sense. It won't affect their main body. Every participant will have 2 origin points. Killing a participant will give you half of the opponent's points. The participant who ranks first in each region will get a spot in the finals. In this way, there will be 360 spots in the finals. Then, the second to 100th place in each region, a total of 35,640 participants, will compete in one-on-one round-robin matches to compete for the remaining 3,240 spots in the finals. From this, the top 3,600 participants of the entire star region will be selected. The second stage, soon, the 3 of them finished reading the detailed introduction. Xian Tian took a deep breath and said, "If it's divided into regions, we might still have a chance. We just need to make it into the top 100. Li Bai was full of fighting spirit. In short, there will be a lot of battles. There is indeed a chance. There are 3,519 billion participants in the Kanglan Star region. If they are evenly divided into 360 regions, there will be nearly 10 billion participants in each region. Apart from the first place in each region, the top 100 participants will all have a chance to get a spot in the finals." Jiang Xi nodded. Even so, the 3 of them felt a lot of pressure. These participants were all geniuses who had at least comprehended the true meaning of Tao. There were definitely many who had Tao domains. There were even some abnormal ones who might have comprehended the Tao of heaven and earth. Moreover, everyone would be in spirit form at the peak of the nascent soul stage. In the case of the same cultivation, it would depend on Tao, combat experience, and willpower to see who was better. Just now, they had also received their respective regions through their communication beads. Jiang Xi was in the 101st region of the Kanglan Star region, Xian Tian was in the 6th region, and Li Bai was in the 360th region. "Brother, sister Bai, shall we compete to see who has the highest ranking this time?" Jiang Xi said with a smile. "I don't want to compete with a freak like you." Xian Tian whistled and turned his gaze to the sea in the distance. "Ha!" Li Bai sneered and turned to leave. "Hey!" Chapter 306. Before the official start of the 9 Regions Genius Competition, countless contestants were working hard to cultivate and strive to improve their strength. Time passed, and the once-in-10,000 years human genius banquet finally began under everyone's anticipation. In the cultivation room with the highest level of defense in Dao De manner, Jiang Xi, Xian Tian, and Li Bai sat cross-legged. Holding the communication bead in their hands, their spiritual consciousness felt an inexplicable attraction through the communication mark. In an instant, their spiritual consciousness was drawn into the Tongtian mountain river painting. With a turn of his spiritual sense, Riverward found himself in the starry sky. The galaxy was flowing, and under his feet was a huge meteorite. Jiang Xi knew that all of this was illusory and not real. Is this a spiritual body? It feels exactly like a real body. Jiang Xi operated his spiritual power and spiritual consciousness in amazement. He was a perfected nascent soul realm cultivator, so he could perfectly control this spiritual body. "Contestant, please choose your battle equipment." A loud voice sounded in this starry sky. Jiang Xi's heart moved, and a supreme-grade spiritual weapon long sword appeared in his hand. It looked exactly the same as the killer shadow sword. It's really amazing. But why do I feel like this scene is familiar? Spirit cloud illusion. Jiang Xi recalled the scene when he challenged Ling Wan Road on Earth. Wasn't the trial illusion of every step of Ling Wan Road like this? Choose your equipment first, then fight. It felt as if the Tongtian Mountain River painting was the official server, and Lingwan Road was the private server. Not knowing if his guess was correct, Jiang Xi could only temporarily suppress the shock in his heart because the official competition was about to begin. Contestant, please get ready. In 3 seconds, you will be teleported to the 101st Division of the Blue Star region. 3 seconds passed. Whoosh! Heaven and earth changed. Jiang Xi appeared in the 101st Division of the Blue Star region. It was a planet with life similar to Earth. Everything was very real. Land, sea, mountains, lakes, and cities. Jiang Xi was now in a city with many tall buildings. He didn't let his guard down just because he had mastered 2 great Dao domains instead. He quickly restrained his aura and hid his body. Kill! Almost instantly, the sound of fierce fighting could be heard nearby. Ding ding ding. Clang clang clang. A huge burst of energy erupted, and the aura surged. Someone died as soon as he entered. Nearly 10 billion contestants had gathered on a single planet. Every one of them was in the state of spirit body and had the cultivation of the perfected nascent soul realm. Once a battle broke out, there was no stopping it. More and more people joined the battle. After all, only a few people were truly cautious. Everyone was wild and unrestrained, killing anyone they saw. This was especially true for those cultivators who were usually only at the spirit nurturing realm and golden core realm. Now that they suddenly had the spiritual body of a great circle nascent soul realm cultivator, they immediately became arrogant. Soon, tens of thousands of people joined the chaotic battle. Boom! Boom! In their spirit bodies, the nascent soul peak stage contestants unleashed a series of terrifying attacks. The smallest was a few hundred feet, while the largest was tens of thousands of feet. They wreaked havoc in this space. Those who were weak were eliminated at the first moment. Only those who were truly powerful had the right to survive. But now, the only things that differentiated the strong from the weak were Dao techniques, battle experience, and willpower. Meanwhile, on the vital planets of the 3,600 star regions, the skyspan mountain river map hanging in the sky changed. The landscape painting that covered the sky changed and turned into 360 huge pictures. It displayed the real-time situation of the 360 competitions in each star region. Of course, Earth couldn't see this. On the vital planets covered by the skyspan mountain river map, those who didn't participate in the competition were all paying attention to the real-time situation of the various competitions. Oh, what a pity. Ergu was killed as soon as he entered. He was the hope of our village. Nalan Yen of the Cloud Mist planet is indeed a genius. She killed thousands of contestants in a chaotic battle and entered the 88th competition in 11th place. We'll soon know who the real genius is. Sangyun Sect. Sect Master Wu Kuei and a group of nascent soul stage elders were also watching the situation of the various competitions in the Kanglan Star region. Everyone, take a closer look. If there are any suitable seedlings, we can try to recruit them, Wu Kuei said with a smile. Sect Master is right. In the 9 regions genius competition, not only are the 3 gates and 6 sects selecting disciples, but we can also recruit some talented young people. The first elder nodded with a smile. They didn't dare to think about the geniuses who entered the top 3,600 in the finals. However, they could still fight for the young geniuses who performed well in the first stage. Sect Master, Feng Si is doing well. He has already entered the top 1,000. Judging by his cautious style, it won't be a big problem for him to enter the top 10. An elder praised. Everyone's eyes immediately locked onto one of the huge images. Feng Si, the nascent soul stage genius of the Zhangyan sect, was in a one-on-many battle. He was very cautious, but his efficiency was very high. A few years ago, he comprehended a second rare Dao technique on the Murong planet in the Minglan star region. In addition, he has already comprehended 80% of the Fog Demon realm. His strength has improved a lot. Wu Kuei nodded with gratification. Our Tsangyun sect hasn't had a disciple enter the top 3,600 in the finals for 50,000 years. Feng Si might have a chance. The first elder smiled. It'll be difficult. With his current strength, he has the confidence to enter the top 10,000 in the finals. His chances of entering the top 3,600 are too slim. Wu Kuei smiled helplessly. The 9 regions of the Tao Alliance had 3,600 star regions. The Kanglan star region wasn't outstanding among so many star regions. It could only be considered below average. Due to the strong interstellar trade atmosphere in the Kanglan star region, the cultivation of cultivators had fallen behind. The Tsangyun sect was the top immortal Tao sect in the Kanglan star region. In the past 50,000 years, its best result in the 9 regions genius competition was entering the top 5,000 in the finals. Those who stood out in the first stage could only be called geniuses in their respective star regions. Only those who entered the top 3,600 in the second stage of the finals could be considered geniuses in the 9 regions of the Tao Alliance. It's not just the Tsangyun sect. In the past 50,000 years, no one in the entire Kanglan star region has entered the top 3,600 in the finals. The best was only 3,601. Wu Kuei was helpless. After all, the Tsangyun sect was the top immortal Tao sect in charge of a star region. This was a very shameful record. If anyone could enter the top 3,600 in the finals, he would also be proud. Sect Master, First Elder, look at that black-clothed youth in the 6th region. Look at his saber. An elder suddenly exclaimed. Everyone's attention was immediately attracted. That's saber intent. A special Tao art. Wu Kuei and the First Elder's eyes lit up. The person they were looking at was none other than Xian Tian in the 6th region. At this moment, Xian Tian was killing a contestant with an ordinary Tao domain with a single slash of his saber. A special Tao art at the perfect level of saber intent was comparable to 40% of an ordinary Tao domain. Chapter 307. Note it down and check his background. Wu Kuei said immediately. The elders were excited. As primordial soul stage cultivators, they understood the Tao of heaven and earth. Naturally, they knew what special Tao techniques meant. Tao techniques were divided into 3 levels: special, rare, and normal. Cultivators who could understand rare Tao techniques were definitely geniuses. On the other hand, the number of cultivators that had comprehended special Tao arts was extremely few. This was especially so for Tao intent, which was completely used in battle. It was extremely rare. Although this black-robed youth's Tao technique was still in the Tao intent stage, as long as he was nurtured well, he would have the chance to become a powerful cultivator. Everyone believed that if the 9 zones genius competition was held 200 years later, this person would definitely have the chance to enter the top 3,600. Tao de Manor. Jiang Dudu, Wen Yoxin, Wen Feng, and Shen Wanxi were all anxiously watching the 3 huge screens in the sky. Other than the 101st region where Jiang Xi was, there were also the 6th and 360th regions. On the left side of each screen was the real-time ranking of the top 100,000. What is brother doing? I can't see his ranking. It's beyond the top 100,000. Jiang Dudu was very confused. She then looked at the rankings of the other 2 regions. Brother Xian Tian is already in the top 10,000 of the 6th region. Sister Bai Bai is also in the top 50,000 of her region. Jiang Dudu was even more confused. Riverward's strength was clearly stronger. It was normal for him to be in the top 1,000. Could it be that Jiang Gu has met his match? Shen Wanxi asked hesitantly. Impossible. In such a competition, only martial granduncle can kill others. Wen Yoxin was very confident in this young martial granduncle. I'm afraid only those with primordial soul stage battle prowess are qualified to be martial granduncle's match, Wen Feng said. Jiang Dudu thought for a while and smiled. I think he's hiding. Unfortunately, the competition had just started. There were too many participants in each region. They could not find Jiang Xi at all. In fact, it was very difficult to find him because Jiang Xi was hiding in the dark. Look, it's moving. Jiang Ji's ranking has directly soared to 99,527. Shen Wanxi suddenly exclaimed. So fast. In the blink of an eye, it's already 50,000th place. 30,000th place. 10,000th place. When Yoxin's eyes widened. How many people did he kill? As expected of martial granduncle. Wen Feng praised. Jiang Dudu smiled without saying a word. As expected of my brother. At this time, in the 101st Division of the Kanglin Star region, Jiang Xi hid in a building and watched the chaotic battle not far away. There was a situation that made him very surprised. Because he found that this planet was very hard. That's not the right word to describe it. It should be very sturdy. The building was sturdy, and so was the ground. Tens of thousands of perfected nascent soul cultivators were engaged in a chaotic battle that could destroy the world. Surprisingly, it didn't cause any damage to the buildings or the ground of the city. If such a large-scale battle had taken place on Earth, wouldn't Earth have already become a small broken ball? There's still someone hiding here. Are you trying to take advantage of me? Go to hell. At this time, someone discovered Jiang Xi who was hiding in the dark and directly slashed at him with a blade. Powerful nascent soul spirit energy fluctuations instantly spread out, mixed with a mysterious Taoist rhyme. This was a cultivator who had comprehended the true meaning of Tao. Ha! Jiang Xi smiled. His figure flashed, and the departing fire sword stabbed out. This is the power of a domain. It's over, it's over. That person was in despair. Poof! His entire body was turned into ashes by the departing fire domain power on the sword. Run, this is a freak who has comprehended the Tao domain. Many people saw this scene. The participants who were gathered here in the chaotic battle immediately ran for their lives. Once the spirit body died, they would be eliminated. However, Jiang Xi didn't immediately chase after them. He was stunned there. Because in his mind, the prompt of the experience panel sounded. You killed a late nascent soul cultivator, fake, experience points plus 380. The word fake represented that these participants in the spirit body state were very different from the real late nascent soul cultivators. The experience points were only 1/10. There's such a good thing. Jiang Xi was pleasantly surprised. It was fine if there were less, but there were more. There were close to 10 billion participants. His blazing gaze looked at the contestants who were running away. Experience baby. Whoosh! Jiang Xi directly used the Gale domain, and his figure whistled as he chased after them. Within 1,000 kilometers, as long as their Tao techniques were weaker than his, they would be restrained by the Gale domain, and their speed would be greatly reduced. This is too terrifying. This is a genius who has comprehended 2 Tao domains. And he has already perfected them. A nascent soul cultivator shouted in shock. This kind of person is a freak who can rush into the top 10,000 in the finals. Why is he in the same area as him? I can't accept this. The 9 Zones Genius Battle is my chance to become famous. Over 10,000 participants were in despair. However, in Jiang Xi's eyes, these were all experience points. Kill, kill, kill. His figure flashed, and the sword light was sharp, taking away one participant after another. You killed a late nascent soul cultivator, fake, experience points plus 380, some people struggled, but it was futile. Soon, the ground was full of corpses, and blood flowed like a river. It looked very real. Jiang Xi was surprised again. Then, he looked at the experience points remaining. Experience points, 866. 68,800,000 experience points. How much will it increase by the end of the first stage of the competition? Jiang Xi's eyes were filled with vigor. He was looking forward to it. Time of the competition, 30 days. Time was limited. Moreover, there were close to 10 billion participants in this area. They would not be waiting for him to kill. There would be a fierce battle between each other. In the end, how many people he could kill would depend on his killing speed. There was another prerequisite, and that was to not encounter a participant stronger than him and be eliminated by others in advance. The probability of that was relatively low. Let's go crazy and kill. Jiang Xi grinned. His killing intent was overflowing. His blood was boiling. Swish, 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 under the Gale domain, his speed reached the extreme. He constantly swept across this planet, killing everyone he saw. On the first day, the number of participants in the 101 area decreased by 4 billion. Jiang Xi eliminated more than 3 million participants, and the average number of people he killed per minute was more than 2,000. For every person he killed, he would obtain half of the opponent's points. With more than 4 million points, he was ranked 5th in the area. Therefore, there was someone more abnormal than him. On the second day, the number of participants in the 101 area decreased by 3 billion. Jiang Xi eliminated 2 million participants, and the average number of people he killed per minute was 1,388. His points had reached more than 10 million, and he was ranked 4th in the area. The killing speed decreased because after the chaotic battle on the first day, a large number of participants with low cultivation level were eliminated. On the third day, the number of participants in the 101 area decreased by 2 billion. Jiang Xi eliminated 1 million participants, and the average number of people he killed per minute was 694. His points had reached more than 20 million, and he was ranked 3rd in the area. Chapter 308. The current ranking situation. Fengxi, 6th District, ranked 11th, Xiantian, 6th District, ranked 169th, Li Baibai, 360th District, ranked 1032nd. Jiang Xi, 101st District, ranked 3rd. With such a result, Sangyun Sect's sect master, Wu Kuei, and the group of primordial soul elders were already grinning from ear to ear. Everyone had long expected Fengxi to be able to rush to such a position. What surprised them the most was the appearance of Jiang Xi's trio. In the beginning, when they discovered the youth with saber intent, they were already very surprised. Because Xian Tian's identity information showed that he came from the Kanglan planet. Then, Jiang Xi's sudden outburst attracted their attention. He had 2 rare Dao domains, and they were both at the perfected state. Such a genius made Wu Kuei and the group of primordial soul elders boil with excitement. Because with Jiang Xi's Dao technique strength, he had a high chance of breaking into the top 3,600 in the finals. Perhaps even the top 1,000. The remaining Li Baibai, although a little less surprising, was at least close to the top 1,000. Most importantly, these 2 people were the same as Xian Tian, from the Kanglan planet. This was the Sangyun sect's headquarters. The cultivators of the Kanglan planet shining in the 9 regions genius tournament would bring glory to the Sangyun sect. Not counting Fengxi, who was already prepared, Jiang Xi's trio was a complete surprise. Could it be that the Sangyun sect, which had been humiliated for 50,000 years, was now going to rise? Everyone was looking forward to it. In the blink of an eye, 20 days had passed. There were less than 100,000 people left in the 101st district. The speed of elimination was getting slower and slower. This was because after so many days and countless battles, the contestants who were still alive would not be too weak. It was not that easy to kill them. It was very difficult for people of similar strength to kill the other party. Only by completely overwhelming the other party could one easily kill the other party. Of course, Jiang Xi's strength was not as simple as crushing a perfected nascent soul. His 2 rare Dao domains were both at the perfected state. Coupled with his special grade sword intent, his strength was definitely at the top of this district. Therefore, he was ranked third. There were two more people in front of him. Jiang Xi was also puzzled. In terms of killing speed, who could compare to him? With a thought, a light panel appeared in front of him, displaying his current ranking. Participant, Jiang Xi, Cerulean Star Region, Zone 101, points, 3, 9 billion ranking, 3 number of participants, 98235, with the ranking points removed, there was a total of 3. 9 billion. The reason why he had so many points was because of the rule that he could get half of the opponent's points by killing them. As time passed, the surviving contestants gained more points as time went on. Killing a single person was equivalent to killing 100,000 people. How many people had he eliminated? Although I have a lot of points, only 7. 56 million people were eliminated by me. Remove only 7. 56 million people. Jiang Xi himself found it hard to believe this number. He received 380 EXP for 1 kill. If converted to experience points, it would be almost 2.9 billion. Therefore, the decision to participate in this competition was the right one. He looked at his remaining experience points. Experience, 374. 325 million more than 3.7 billion. Jiang Xi's depressed mood was swept away, and his ambition was soaring. There are less than 100,000 people left, but each of them has a lot of points. I have to pay attention later. I can't be killed by others, and then see if I can fight for first place in the district. With a thought, another light panel appeared in front of him. Participant, Mu Ning, Cerulean Star Region, Zone 101, points, 4.5 billion. Ranking, 1 number of participants, 98205, the ranking information was public, and everyone could find it in the Tongtian River map. 4.5 billion points, it's this monster. My Gale domain and Distant Fire domain combined are not as fast as his killing speed. Jiang Xi even suspected that this person was a cheat. Unfortunately, in these 20 days, he had not met this person called Mu Ning. After all, everyone was busy killing people. My points are less than 600 million away from his. There's still a chance. Jiang Xi's eyes were burning. The first place in the district could directly obtain a spot in the finals and did not need to participate in the round robin. Of course, with his strength, even if he participated in the round robin, he was confident to get a spot in the finals. But to be safe, it was definitely better to get it early. If something unexpected happened in the round robin, it would not be good. Thinking like this, suddenly, Jiang Xi's soul sense found movement. There was a battle more than 600 kilometers away. His figure swayed and flew in that direction. There are 23 people fighting, and I don't know how many are hiding in the dark. Now that everyone was in the perfect nascent soul realm, once their aura was restrained. Unless there was a special detection method or a soul sense beyond the nascent soul realm, it was possible to find the hidden people. So now there were less than 100,000 people left, and it was getting harder and harder to kill. The probability of a large-scale melee was also greatly reduced. It was no longer possible to kill thousands or tens of thousands of people at the same time like in the beginning. Many people were hiding and waiting to reap the benefits. They wanted to wait for others to fight to the end before coming out to take advantage of the situation. At this stage, Jiang Xi did not act arrogantly. Before he got close to the place where the battle was happening, he restrained his aura. In the sky above a great swamp surrounded by clouds, 23 people attacked without being divided into factions. Whoever got close would be killed. Boom! 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 All kinds of energy exploded, clouds surged, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. If not for the fact that this world was very sturdy, the mountains would have collapsed and the earth would have cracked under such power. 19 of them have ordinary Dao domains, and their comprehension level is more than 60%, 4 of them have rare Dao domains, but none of them have more than 30%. Jiang Xi felt the domain power coming from those people and instantly made a judgment. It was obvious that the 4 people who had comprehended rare Dao domains were stronger. However, these people's strength was similar, and they did not form a crushing momentum. It was impossible to end the battle quickly. Oh! Jiang Xi's gaze focused. At this moment, he saw a barefoot shepherd boy wearing a straw hat and a short shirt appear in another direction of the great swamp. The shepherd boy held a bamboo flute in his hand and stepped on the void, breaking through the clouds. Mu Ning. In the sky above the great swamp, those who were fighting were immediately terrified and wanted to escape. However, they realized that they could not move. The power of a perfect domain bound them tightly. Everyone, why don't you listen to me play a song? Mu Ning had an innocent smile on his face. The bamboo flute played. The melodious and light flute sound seemed to tell a beautiful story as it floated above the great swamp. An invisible domain power accompanied the flute sound as it floated out, suffusing with vitality. Those who were bound only took a breath before their eyes turned slack and they finally disappeared. They were dead. Vitality could save people, but it could also kill. Special Dao Technique, Life Domain. Chapter 309. Fuck. Jiang Xi was shocked. This freak, no wonder he was killing people faster than him. A song accompanied by a Dao domain that spread out for 1,000 kilometers could kill everyone within this range. Suddenly, the sound of the flute became passionate and spread out from the sky above the swamp. Plop, plop. Hundreds of figures fell from various hidden places and died. Humph. Jiang Xi snorted coldly. The wind was like a blade, circling around him. Woo! The sharp whistling sound drowned out the sound of the flute. It also blocked the strange power of the life domain. Not bad. In the past half a month, only you can block my dream-seeking song. Mu Ning stepped on the void barefoot and came in front of Jiang Xi. They were about 100 kilometers apart. Maybe I don't like this song. Jiang Xi's expression was serious. Oh. Then another song. I have a new song, Full Moon Song. Mu Ning's eyes lit up. His innocent face had a sincere expression, making people have a good impression of him. However, Jiang Xi was not fooled. The innocent shepherd boy in front of him had killed more people than him. Forget it, I don't like to listen to songs. Let's compete in sword techniques. Ha, then let's wait until the end to decide the victor. Mu Ning waved his hand and moved lightly, floating in another direction. Jiang Xi was afraid of Mu Ning. Mu Ning was naturally afraid of Jiang Xi too. Neither of them had the confidence to kill the other. Now that it was not the final moment, neither of them wanted to fight to the death. There were less than 100,000 people left, and the points of the top few were very close. Anyone had a chance to get first place. The two of them retreated. Their first meeting was outside the Skyspan Mountain River diagram in the Pale Blue Star region, causing a huge uproar. This is the first face-to-face confrontation between Mu Ning and Jiang Xi from District 101. This Mu Ning is too crazy. Listening to his song can kill people. Riverward only used one Dao domain just now. There's still one more he hasn't used. Although the two of them didn't really make a move, I can tell that they are both afraid of each other. Other than these two, the other people in Zone 101 are also very abnormal. Who will be the final champion? Division 101 was the most eye-catching division in the Kanglan Star Zone. The few people at the top of the rankings were obviously a level higher than the contestants in the other regions. Jiang Xi, Mu Ning, Mo Tianba, Dual Gun Tycoon, Qing Yu, and Wang Jingyuan. All of them had perfected Dao domains. Mu Ning, in particular, had a special Daoist art that was extremely powerful. Due to the rule of obtaining half of the opponent's points for killing someone, anyone could get first place. Therefore, everyone was looking forward to these few people fighting to determine who was the better one. What a strange attack. I've really met my match this time. Jiang Dudu's eyes widened. Martial granduncle will definitely win. The Wen siblings were filled with confidence. Jiang Gu will definitely get first place. Shen Wanxi supported him even more brainlessly. Another week passed. The division battles had already been going on for 27 days. There were only 3 days left. There were only 10,000 people left in Zone 101. Jiang Xi is here. Run! In the sky above a mountain forest, more than 10 contestants who were fighting immediately scattered. Even so, they all had looks of despair on their faces. This was because they knew that if they encountered Jiang Xi or Mu Ning, there was no chance of escaping at all. Whoosh! A gust of wind whistled and swept through the mountain forest. Endless wind blades danced wildly. In a few breaths, this group of contestants was turned into minced meat. Before the 9 regions genius battle, his Gale domain and Li Fire domain had been perfected. However, he had not developed the practical application of these 2 Daoist arts to the extreme. After all, there was always a gap between practice and theory. After so many days and hundreds of thousands of battles, Jiang Xi had become more adept at using Daoist arts. His combat experience had finally improved greatly. After killing these people, Jiang Xi flew away and checked his points at the same time. My points have exceeded 5 billion. Killing these more than 10 people, he obtained a large number of points again. Since the competition started until now, these remaining 10,000 over people, each person had at least several 100,000 points. The current point ranking situation in Zone 101. Number 1, Mu Ning, 6 billion. Number 2, Mo Tianba, 9 billion. Number 3, Jiang Xi, 5 billion. Number 4, Dual Gun Tycoon, 4 billion. Number 5, Qing Yu, 4 billion. Number 6, Wang Jingyuan, 6 billion. Number 7, Berudo. The first 2 are both freaks. There are still 3 days and the division battles will be over. Have to kill 2 points players before I can catch up. Jiang Xi shook his head helplessly. His figure swayed and disappeared from the sky above this mountain forest. On Zone 101, this planet, he searched non-stop. Unfortunately, the strength of the points players were not weak. Wanting to find them was very difficult. Quickly run, it's Jiang Xi. Along the way, the contestants who saw Jiang Xi took to their heels and fled. But not a single one could escape. Very soon, Jiang Xi arrived above a city. Whoosh! A figure directly blocked his path. It was a thin and cold young man. On the street below, there were hundreds of corpses lying. The hidden contestants in this area were all killed by this person. Jiang Xi. The cold young man looked at Jiang Xi. The blood on the long staff was still dripping drop by drop. Wang Jingyuan. Jiang Xi's eyes flashed. The 2 were respectively 3rd and 6th in the division. One had 5 billion points, the other had 6 billion points. You want to fight with me now? Jiang Xi asked. That's right. If I kill you, I can rush to first place. Wang Jingyuan's expression was determined with a trace of madness. Then let's fight. Jiang Xi nodded lightly. Boom! The powerful aura of the 2 suddenly erupted and spread out. All the hidden contestants in the surrounding thousands of kilometers were shocked and wanted to withdraw from the battle range of the 2. However, Jiang Xi and Wang Jingyuan did not intend to let them go. These people who wanted to take advantage of the situation were slaughtered by the 2 of them in just a moment. Then, the 2 stood in the air, separated by thousands of miles, and their aura reached the peak. Withered tree revives spring. Wang Jingyuan took the lead. A rare Dao technique, the complete withered tree domain, was immediately displayed through the long staff in his hand. The power of his domain bred vitality in death. It was extremely strange. An extremely condensed staff shadow swept out. Jiang Xi directly faced it, Gale Shield. Clang! Clang! This move was blocked by him without any hesitation. Whoosh! Another sword suddenly pierced out. The power of the Gale domain. Gale sword shadows condensed on the sword body, shaking the space. It was extremely fast. What a fast sword! Wang Jingyuan's expression changed. He responded with the fastest speed. Staff forest. The sky full of staff shadows, under his withered tree domain, seemed to have turned into a primitive forest, covering thousands of kilometers. Puff! Puff! The towering giant tree collapsed. Jiang Xi's Gale sword shadows were constantly being consumed under this kind of blocking. Before it reached Wang Jingyuan, it had completely dissipated. Chapter 310. As expected, no one in the top 10 is weak. Jiang Xi had expected this. Li Fire. He changed his move, and the Gale domain disappeared. The dark red Li Fire domain spread to a radius of 1,000 kilometers. The primeval forest formed by the withered wood domain was burned to ashes in an instant. Fire was the bane of wood. Annihilation, wood armor. Wang Jingyuan's expression was cold. He was not affected. The withered wood shrunk and condensed on the staff. A layer of withered wood armor appeared on his body. Swoosh! He rushed directly toward Jiang Xi. The staff shadow was like a dragon as it smashed down. Boom! 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 Ha, that's more like it. Jiang Xi laughed. He used the same method, and the Gale domain condensed into a black armor. The Gale shield had an extremely strong defensive power. Now that it had turned into armor, its defense was 10 times stronger. Take my 10,000 strikes. Wang Jingyuan shouted coldly. The staff shadows covered the sky and emitted a vast divine power. Jiang Xi had no room to dodge. The sky suddenly darkened. Disperse. Jiang Xi's expression was calm. The Li Fire domain condensed on the killer shadow sword. The dark red sword shadow emitted a terrifying aura. It was as if it could burn everything. The sword turned into 1,000,000 feet long. Blazing flames surged and burned in this space. Rumble. The staff shadows that blotted out the sky dissipated. Impossible. This is my strongest move. It has already touched the early stage of the primordial soul realm. Wang Jingyuan found it hard to accept. With his strength, he could definitely be ranked first in the other divisions. But now, his strongest move was easily defeated by Jiang Xi. He lost. Swoosh. The moment the staff shadows dissipated, a 3-foot-long sword shadow cut through the air, penetrated the wooden armor, and pierced his forehead. Wang Jingyuan was dead. He was also the first participant in the top 10 of Division 101 to be eliminated. The moment Wang Jingyuan died, half of his points were contributed to Jiang Xi. Jiang Xi's points soared. From 5 billion to 6.8 billion. He was ranked first. At the same time, this battle attracted the attention of those outside of the sky-reaching mountain and river diagram. It became the biggest hot topic. Jiang Xi's name quickly spread to every major galaxy in the Blue Star region. This is the young genius of our blue planet. With such strength, Jiang Xi will definitely make it to the top 3,600 in the finals. Not only that, I think Jiang Xi is aiming for the top 1,000. The blue planet, which had been weak for years, urgently needed a genius to appear. Therefore, during this period of time, the Tsungyun sect had already taken out Jiang Xi and wantonly publicized it. Although they could not find any of Jiang Xi's experiences from 10 years ago, the experts of the Tsungyun sect still had doubts about Jiang Xi's true origins. However, he couldn't care less about that now. It was fine as long as his identity information indicated that he was from Blue Planet. Even if it wasn't, it was. For 50,000 years, no one in the Kanglan Star region had made it to the top 3,600 in the finals. Not to mention the Blue Planet. Dauda Manor. Xian Tian and Li Baibai had been eliminated not long ago. The two of them were also paying attention to Jiang Xi's situation. At first, they were very worried when they saw Wang Jingyuan stop Jiang Xi. Because of Wang Jingyuan's strength, he could definitely rank first in the other regions. In the end, when they saw Jiang Xi easily deal with Wang Jingyuan, both of them were shocked. This kid is simply not human. He's only 32 years old. Xian Tian shook his head and sighed. It seems that we really can't catch up with him. Li Baibai smiled bitterly. Of course, both of them were very gratified. Although the outside world had been saying that Jiang Xi was the glory of the Blue Planet, Jiang Xi actually represented the people of Earth. Jiang Daodu chuckled at the side. She was naturally the happiest when Jiang Xi achieved results. However, Jiang Xi's first place only lasted for a minute before it was surpassed by the shepherd boy, Mu Ning. Through the changes in the points ranking, Jiang Xi knew that Mu Ning had eliminated Cheng Yu, who was in 5th place, and obtained 2 billion points. His total points directly reached 8 billion. And he only had 8 billion. The gap had widened. But it wasn't that he didn't have a chance. Jiang Xi didn't hide his aura at all as he searched for the other top 10 contestants in Division 101. Therefore, Jiang Xi and Mu Ning seemed to have agreed on it. They had a tacit understanding. Jiang Xi killed the 7th place and became first again. Mu Ning killed the 8th place and took back the first place again. The two of them took turns to sit on the first throne. Then, the 5th to 10th place were all killed by the two of them. In the end, Jiang Xi's points reached 3 billion. Mu Ning, on the other hand, reached 8 billion. It was still difficult to separate them. They were very close. At this point, only the 1st to 4th place remained among the top 10 contestants. As for those outside the top 10, there weren't many left. Jiang Xi and Mu Ning were hunting down the top 10 contestants. Mo Tianba, who was in 3rd place, and Double Gun Tycoon, who was in 4th place, killed almost all the remaining contestants. Even if they were lucky enough to survive, with their points, it wouldn't affect the ranking. Now, only the top 4 could affect the final ranking. Mu Ning 8 billion. Jiang Xi 3 billion. Mo Tianba 2 billion. Double Gun Tycoon 3 billion. Now, anyone could get first place. For example, Double Gun Tycoon, who was in 4th place. If he could kill Mu Ning, then his points would reach 2 billion. On the 30th day of the division battle, the battle for the first place in Division 101 also came to an end. All eyes were on it. Many of the 360 divisions in the Kanglan Star region had already decided the first place. None of them was as intense as Division 101. It was already the last day, and the first place was still uncertain: Kanglan Star Jiang Xi, Forgetful River Star Mu Ning, Moto Star Mo Tianba, Nawa Star Double Gun Tycoon. All 4 of them had their own supporters. Although they couldn't hear it in the towering mountain river diagram, they still couldn't help but shout. The Interstellar Spinach group even opened bets. Who would get first place? Towering mountain river diagram, Kanglan Star region, Division 101. Jiang Xi stood on the top of a 10,000-meter high mountain and searched within a 1,000-kilometer radius with his sole consciousness. It's the last day. It's impossible to get first place by killing those ordinary contestants. Mu Ning, Mo Tianba, and Double Gun Tycoon, only by killing all of them can I guarantee the first place. He was thinking about hunting, and the other 3 must have the same idea. After searching within a 1,000-kilometer radius of this 10,000-meter high mountain, Jiang Xi didn't find any trace of these 3 people. He went to the next place. His figure kept flashing on this planet. Found it. In the mountains ahead, Jiang Xi found two powerful auras, but Mu Ning wasn't there. Then, it could only be Mo Tianba and Double Gun Tycoon. Are they deliberately revealing their auras? Or are they fighting a decisive battle? Jiang Xi's heart skipped a beat, and he suddenly flew over in a flash. But before he arrived, someone beat him to it and appeared in the sky above the mountains. Mu Ning. This young shepherd boy looked like he was taking a stroll. He was very relaxed. Gentlemen, listen to my song. Mu Ning chuckled. Chapter 311. Swoosh. Two figures darted out from the mountains and blocked Mu Ning's path. Mo Tianba was tall and sturdy like a bear. His mace seemed to have the strength of 10,000 kilograms. Dual Spear Protector was like his name. He held two spears, one of water and one of fire. Two perfected Dao domains circled around his spears. Both of them stared at Mu Ning with a grim expression. Their original plan was to lure Jiang Xi over and kill Jiang Xi. Then, the two of them would fight. That way, they would have a chance to fight for first place and avoid fighting Mu Ning. They did not expect to lure Mu Ning over. They would rather fight Jiang Xi than Mu Ning. Mu Ning's methods were too strange. It was impossible to guard against. Jiang Xi, stop hiding. Mu Ning was about to play his bamboo flute when he suddenly chuckled. Mo Tianba and Dual Spear Protector's expressions changed. They did not notice Jiang Xi. Whoosh! Not far away, there was a sudden fluctuation in the empty sky. Jiang Xi appeared. He used the wind to hide his figure. Nice move. Jiang Xi praised. He did not mind being discovered. My ears have been good since I was young. Mu Ning smiled innocently. His eyes were bright and clean. One each? Jiang Xi said again. He was naturally referring to Mo Tianba and Dual Spear Protector. No, I'll fight the three of you. Mu Ning smiled. Heh heh. Jiang Xi sneered. Their conversation infuriated Mo Tianba and Dual Spear Protector. They did not feel good being looked down upon. How dare you? Take two of my spears. They attacked. Mo Tianba's heavy mace suddenly enlarged. It was like a mountain as it came crashing down. Dual Spear Protector's dual domains of water and fire were also unleashed. The two completely opposite domain powers collided at high speed, producing a shocking force. Boom! 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 Their targets were Jiang Xi and Mu Ning. Jiang Xi laughed. His sword flashed. Accompanied by a gust of wind, it whistled toward Mo Tianba's mace. Clang! 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 The immense power flowed along the sword and into Jiang Xi's body. What a powerful force! Jiang Xi was shocked. In the blink of an eye, he turned into a stream of light and dodged to the side. At the same time, the Gale Sword shadow stabbed out. Dong! The aftermath of their fight seemed to compress the space around them, and a muffled sound echoed through the sky. At the same time, Mu Ning's bamboo flute began to play a melodious tune that drew people in. It seemed to be able to penetrate deep into one's soul. The invisible power of the domain of life spread out in this space. The dual gun protector that was attacking him paused for a moment, and the dual domain of water and fire immediately dispersed. Dual Gun Tycoon's eyes were unfocused, and his expression was ferocious. He was still struggling. Suddenly, the pitch of the flute rose a few notches. Dual Gun Tycoon's body fell from the sky. His aura disappeared without a trace. He was dead. Fuck, this freak. Jiang Xi had already used the power of the Gale domain to protect himself. The whistling wind covered the sound of the flute, but the pervasive power of the domain of life was trying to penetrate his body and mind. Gale, Parting fire. The power of the two domains quickly circulated in his body and blocked it. This is my chance. At this moment, Jiang Xi saw that Mo Tianba's eyes were also a little unfocused and confused. His speed reached its peak, and he suddenly stabbed out with his sword. Slash! The killer shadow sword pierced through Mo Tianba's forehead. At this point, the third and fourth place in Division 101 were all dead. Only Jiang Xi and Mu Ning were left. Their latest points were Jiang Xi 12. 4 billion. Mu Ning 12. 5 billion. There was only a difference of 100 million. But at this moment, this 100 million was no longer important. The two of them would definitely fight to determine the winner, and the winner would be first. Outside the Skyspan Mountain River diagram, in the major galaxies of the Pale Blue Star region, trillions of people were watching this battle, and everyone's emotions were already at the peak. Such a battle for first place was too exciting and exciting. Pale Blue Star's Jiang Xi. Forgetful River Planet's Mu Ning. There were many supporters on both sides, cheering and shouting. Sangyun Sect. Sect Master Wu Kuei and the Essence Soul Elders were also completely attracted by this battle. Sect Master, Jiang Xi has a high chance of winning first place in Division 101 this time. Dual rare Dao domains aren't necessarily worse than a special domain of life, Grand Elder Mu Chuan said with a smile. Although Jiang Xi and Mu Ning were both participants of the Pale Blue Star region, Jiang Xi was from the Pale Blue Star region. Of course, they supported Jiang Xi. It still depends on how they perform in the battle. With the strength of these two, either one of them could win. Wu Kuei shook his head and smiled. He had to be rational. Elder Mu, when this battle is over, go visit Jiang Xi and recruit Xian Tian and Li Baibai into our Sangyun sect, said Wu Kuei. Ha, that's right. I didn't expect the three of them to know each other. Mu Chuan laughed loudly. They had already found out that Jiang Xi, Xian Tian, and Li Baibai lived in the same manner on the Pale Blue Star region. The only doubt was that they couldn't find out what Jiang Xi and the other two had experienced 10 years ago. It was as if they had appeared in the Pale Blue Star region out of thin air. Wu Kuei and the others suspected that the three of them came from some mysterious family or faction in the Dao Alliance. Otherwise, how could they be so talented? In Division 101, Jiang Xi and Mu Ning stood opposite each other. I've never liked fighting and killing with others since I was young, so it doesn't matter if I get first place or not. Mu Ning chuckled. Jiang Xi. You don't like fighting and killing? Don't you know how many people you've killed? Then let me stab you. I want first place, said Jiang Xi. How can there be such a good thing? Although I don't like fighting, I've never been one to admit defeat since I was young. I've met so many opponents, but you were the only one who blocked my dream-seeking song last time, so this time, I'm going to show you my full moon song. Mu Ning was excited and excited. Come on then. Jiang Xi raised his long sword and condensed his aura. Swoosh. The sword shadow pierced through space and directly attacked Mu Ning. Strike first and gain the upper hand. However, Mu Ning turned his body and stepped on the void barefoot, easily dodging Jiang Xi's sword. It was as if the world was closer to him, making it easier for him to control the environment around him. A soft and ethereal sound of a flute sounded. It was the sound of the full moon song. Almost instantly, it penetrated deep into Jiang Xi's soul. It was like a lullaby. Jiang Xi's head was dizzy and he wanted to fall asleep. Oh no! Jiang Xi shuddered and suddenly woke up. Whoosh! The wind whistled and he disappeared on the spot. Boom! Almost at the same time, a huge foot landed on the spot where he had been standing. A huge thunderous aura spread out in all directions, making one's heart tremble. If Jiang Xi was a step slower just now, he would have been trampled into a meat patty. No! I have to fight in close combat. If I'm restrained by him like this, I won't have any chance at all. Jiang Xi's expression was serious. The wind turned into armor and protected his body. Then, he crossed the void and approached at an extremely fast speed. Wind helps fire, Li fire. A dark red Li fire sword shadow suddenly shot out under the power of the Gale domain. Jiang Xi was confident that even an early-stage Essence Soul Realm cultivator would not dare to take this sword head-on. Chapter 312. However, Mu Ning was still standing in place, and the sound of his flute was still fluttering. However, a strange life domain power, accompanied by the sound of the flute, suddenly transformed into a giant palm and shattered the distant fire sword. Jiang Xi's expression did not change. He took advantage of this opportunity to approach Mu Ning. He instantly swung his sword. This time, with the true intent of the sword as the core, gale and fire spiraled. The wind aided the fire, and the fire aided the wind. The power of the two domains seemed to have merged into one, and the power instantly increased. The surging sword made Mu Ning unable to maintain his composure any longer, and his expression changed slightly. The sound of the plenilune immediately accelerated its tempo, and the life domain power condensed into countless huge feet. It kicked towards Jiang Xi's sword. Boom! Boom! The explosive impact swept through the entire planet of Zone 101. As for Jiang Xi and Mu Ning, under this kind of impact, they remained unmoved. After everything calmed down, Mu Ning's expression was unprecedentedly solemn. If your plenilune song is only this powerful, then you will definitely lose today. Jiang Xi was expressionless as he struck out with his sword again. You can actually fuse two rare domains, and its power is comparable to a special level Dao domain. Looks like the plenilune song won't work. Listen to my fourth song, Muyun Song. Mu Ning took a deep breath. There's a fourth song. Jiang Xi's expression changed. He knew that Mu Ning's Dao technique was a special Dao domain. According to his judgment, the plenilune song had perfectly unleashed the full power of this special Dao domain. If there was a fourth song, it meant that this person's Dao technique realm had already surpassed the domain stage. The Dao of heaven and earth. Mu Ning said, my Muyun song was comprehended when I was herding cows. Unfortunately, I've only completed 30% of it. If you can block it, I'll admit defeat. As he spoke, he began to play with his flute. Jiang Xi's heart skipped a beat. It was indeed the Dao of heaven and earth. Don't even think about it. Jiang Xi shouted coldly. If he let this guy play, he would have no chance. Immediately, sword shadows rose, turning into a sword curtain that blotted out the sky. Whoosh! Whoosh! It was as if 10,000 swords were fired at the same time. There was a hum. However, there was an invisible heaven and earth binding coming from all directions. Riverward discovered that he seemed to have fallen into a quagmire. The speed boost provided by the Gale domain also lost its effect. This was the difference between their cultivation realms. It was indeed the Dao of heaven and earth. Jiang Xi felt bitter in his heart. As the sound of the flute rose, the clouds rolled and dispersed. The curtain of swords in the sky vanished into nothingness. In an instant, Jiang Xi was immersed in the sound of the flute. He could not resist at all. Even with the protection of two domains, he couldn't stop Mu Ning's Dao of heaven and earth. They were no longer on the same level. Jiang Xi's consciousness disappeared into the mountain and river diagram in a daze. Finally, the only person left in the sky above the mountains was the shepherd boy, who was wearing a straw hat, a short shirt, and bare feet. Mu Ning, on the other hand, was stunned for a long time before he let out a long sigh with a complicated expression. This fourth song was supposed to be reserved for the finals, but you forced me to use it. Mu Ning, admit that you are the strongest opponent I've ever met. There were countless races in the universe, and the Dao Alliance's 9 star zones occupied by the human race were the most fertile territories in the vast universe. The Dao Alliance's heavenly court, which ruled over the 9 zones, was located in the middle of the 9 zones. It occupied an enormous star zone that was no smaller than the 9 zones. At this moment, in a hall surrounded by stars in the Tao Alliance's heavenly court, 2 middle-aged men sat across from each other in the starry sky. One of them had disheveled hair and wore only a green robe. The other had a handsome face and was covered in armor. In the center of the hall, the mountain and river diagram's rainbow light flowed. The situation of the first stage of the 3,600 star zones was displayed in front of the 2 of them. Pale blue star zone's zone 101 is quite interesting. The green-robed man waved his hand. The mountain and river diagram in front of the 2 of them spun and displayed the scene of Jiang Xi and Mu Ning's battle. Oh! This kid has already mastered 30% of the special Tao of life. He has the strength to enter the top 10 in the finals. The armored man was also interested. Moreover, he has mastered it very well. He can completely integrate the Tao of life into his music. With such attainments, once he perfects the Tao of life in the future, he can directly perform Tao integration, said the green-robed man. In comparison, his opponent, the other kid, has terrible luck. He can think of using Sword True Intent as the core to fuse 2 rare Tao domains. With such strength, he could have taken first place in the zone. The armored man laughed. He can be considered a good seedling. If he's lucky, he might be able to enter the top 500 in the finals. The green-robed man shook his head. Clearly, they were more interested in Mu Ning. Soaring Rainbow Planet. Yuan Zhangshua was alone in a luxurious palace. He was in a deranged state. Good death. Good death. There was a hint of helplessness in his tone. The Flying Rainbow Star trade was an important source of wealth for the Flying Rainbow sect, and he had managed it for so long. He had been in charge for so long, so he was naturally not a simple-minded and impulsive person. Yuan Zhangshua knew the current situation very well. Even if the 9 Zones Genius Tournament ended, he would not be able to deal with Jiang Xi. In fact, he had to avoid him. Furthermore, he was worried about something else. If the competitors for the position of sect master in the sect knew that he had a conflict with Jiang Xi, at that time, he would be in a passive position. Damn it! Yuan Zhangshua gritted his teeth and growled. Pale blue star region, on a remote Tier 2 planet. There was also a Skirich mountain river diagram in the sky. Patriarch Qing Xian was like an ordinary person. He hid in the secular world and paid attention to this grand genius tournament. Although the first stage of the round-robin tournament had yet to begin, he was already certain Jiang Xi was the genius ranked second among the participants of the Pale Blue Star region in terms of talent in Tao techniques. The first place was naturally the shepherd boy. Jiang Xi, a dual rare Tao technique at the domain stage and a special Tao technique at the true meaning stage. Patriarch Qing Xian's eyes flickered. He had already obtained the blood chi spirit fruit that he had been guarding for 2,000 years. His strength could improve further. However, at this moment, seeing the Tao technique talent Jiang Xi displayed, he could not think of a way to deal with Jiang Xi. Pale Blue Star Region, Linhai City, Daoda Manor. Jiang Daodu, Xian Tian, Li Baibai, and the others were guarding outside the training room. Soon, Jiang Xi walked out with a frown. He did not seem to be in a good state. Brother! Jiang Daodu shouted first, very worried. Next to her, the Wen siblings and Shen Wanxi also looked worried. Jiang Xi, you did very well. Xian Tian also comforted him. Yes, compared to us, you are ranked second in your division. You are much stronger than us. I am only ranked 855th. Big brother is a little better. He is only ranked 103rd in his division. Li Baibai laughed. They had been through hundreds of battles and were much older than Jiang Xi. Their psychological endurance was strong. In the face of such failure, they naturally laughed it off. However, Jiang Xi was only 32 years old. He was too young. Although they were sworn siblings, in reality, Riverward was still a junior. The two of them were worried that Jiang Xi would be dealt a blow. This was because Jiang Xi had not encountered such an opponent for a long time. There was no room for him to fight back. He was completely crushed and miserable. Chapter 313. Hearing these comforting voices, Jiang Xi felt warm in his heart. He smiled and said, "Don't worry, it's just second place. It's not like I don't have a chance." He frowned just now because he was reflecting on the battle just now. Only then did they feel relieved. Yes, there was still the round-robin competition. With the strength Jiang Xi had shown, there was no problem for him to participate in the round-robin competition. At this moment, someone came to Daoda Manor and asked to visit. After confirming the identity, Jiang Xi did not dare to neglect and quickly invited him in. Because the person who came was Cangyun sect's great elder Mu Chuan. A late-stage essence soul cultivator. A late-stage essence soul cultivator, only one step away from Dao integration. In the entire Kanglan Star region, he was a powerhouse who stood at the peak. Jiang Daodu, Wen Yoxin, and the others saw the situation and knew that they had something to talk about, so they quickly left for other places in the manor. "Greetings, Great Elder." Jiang Xi, Xian Tian, and Li Baibai were left behind and bowed respectfully. "No need to be so polite. You are all the leaders of our Kanglan Star, the hope of the future. Especially Jiang Xi, you did well this time and spread the name of our Kanglan Star's cultivation world. Our Cangyun sect is also happy for this, so the sect master sent me to meet you, genius." Mu Chuan nodded and smiled. His gaze lingered on Jiang Xi for a while. The great elder of the Cangyun sect was now full of emotions. This was because the strength that Riverward had displayed in the final battle of District 101 had exceeded their expectations. Although Jiang Xi was still in the nascent soul stage, he could imagine that soon after the finals of the 9 regions genius battle ended, Jiang Xi's status would be almost the same as his, a late-stage essence soul cultivator. "Thank you for your compliment, Great Elder." Jiang Xi smiled. He had already guessed the other party's intention in coming. Xian Tian and Li Baibai, on the other hand, were secretly laughing. They were all fake Blue Planet natives. "Our sect master said that he hopes that you will continue to work hard and strive to break into the top 500 in the finals. At that time, our Cangyun sect will also have a big gift to offer." Mu Chuan said again. Jiang Xi thanks sect master. Jiang Xi hurriedly expressed his gratitude. "Only the top 500? He muttered in his heart, but his expression did not change. Was he that pessimistic about him? At that moment, Mu Chuan glanced at Xian Tian and Li Baibai before teasing Jiang Xi. "Of course, I didn't come here uninvited this time because I'm not looking for you." Jiang Xi thought to himself, sure enough. Xian Tian and Li Baibai also looked calm. Obviously, they had also guessed it. Mu Chuan laughed. "Xian Tian, are you willing to become a disciple of my Cangyun sect? You walk the path of the Saber Dao, and it just so happens that my master is an expert of the Saber Dao." Jiang Xi and Li Baibai looked at Xian Tian happily. Although Mu Chuan did not say it explicitly, his master was very likely to be an expert of the path integration stage. However, it was still up to Xian Tian to make the decision. "I'm willing to join." Xian Tian was very decisive. He walked the path of the Saber Dao without a guide. If there was a knowledgeable person to guide him carefully, he would definitely improve faster. Mu Chuan laughed, very satisfied with Xian Tian's answer. "As for you, Li Baibai." Mu Chuan's gaze turned, and then he said, "Although the Dao technique you've comprehended is called the true meaning of fast, I've never seen it before. Is it convenient for you to explain?" "The true meaning of fast is a name I came up with myself because my Dao technique only strives for speed," Li Baibai said. "Speed?" Mu Chuan was puzzled. "Not only speed, everything has to be fast," Li Baibai said simply. However, it made Mu Chuan even more puzzled. He did not look down on Li Baibai just because his ranking was the lowest among Jiang Xi's trio. Therefore, although he was puzzled, Mu Chuan still said seriously, "Are you willing to join the Zhangyin sect? Although we don't have any powerhouses who specialize in this Dao technique, I can provide you with the Dao technique. However, I can guarantee that the sect will provide you with the best cultivation conditions and help you cultivate to a higher level." Li Baibai hesitated. Xian Tian joined the Zhangyin sect because they had a powerhouse who cultivated the Saber Dao. However, her joining the Zhangyin sect did not have much meaning cultivation resources. They had treasures dug up from various arcane realms on Earth and did not lack resources. Just as Li Baibai was hesitating, someone else came to visit. Jiang Xi let Xian Tian and Li Baibai accompany Mu Chuan while he went to greet them himself. When he saw who it was, Jiang Xi smiled. There were 2 people in total. He did not recognize the kind-looking old man in the white robe. The other person was a middle-aged man with a long axe on his back. He had seen him before and had even interacted with him before. "Greetings, Lord Earth." Jiang Xi bowed and said. The middle-aged man was Earth, the commander of the Dao Alliance's Heavenly Court's Planet Kanglan Law Enforcement Department. Earth was the one who helped the Mountain Sea Star trade when it was suppressed by the Flying Rainbow Star trade. He said it was to repay the favor of destroying the Azure Mystic sect, but Earth had helped a lot after all. "Ha, Jiang Xi, congratulations. You're famous in all the major galaxies in the Kanglan Star Zone." Earth laughed heartily. "You must be joking, Lord. I'm only second." Jiang Xi chuckled. "Don't be modest. Everyone has seen your performance. If you were placed in any other competition zone, you would be number 1. It's a pity that you met Mu Ning. With his strength, he has a chance to enter the top 10. Earth shook his head and felt sorry for Jiang Xi. Only a chance to enter the top 10. Jiang Xi was surprised. He thought that with Mu Ning's strength, it was certain that he would enter the top 10 in the finals. That's right. Based on the experience of the previous 9 zones genius tournament, it's common for geniuses with perfected Dao of heaven and earth to appear in the finals. Earth sighed. Jiang Xi was speechless. Perfected Dao of heaven and earth. He was leading by a large stage. Don't be surprised. Take Mu Ning for example. He comprehended the Dao of heaven and earth before reaching the nascent soul stage. He can easily become a Dao reunion cultivator in the future. What's more, he comprehended a special Dao technique. Once he succeeds in the Dao reunion, he will be at the pinnacle of the Dao reunion, Earth exclaimed. After saying that, he saw that Jiang Xi was a little stunned. Only then did he realize that these words seemed to be a big blow to Jiang Xi. Therefore, he smiled and said, "You're not bad yourself. With your strength, if you perform well, you can enter the top 500. If you're lucky, you might even enter the top 300. Only 3 to 500. Jiang Xi's eyes flashed. He was a little unconvinced. Mu Chuan had said the same thing just now. However, he didn't express his dissatisfaction. This time, he had obtained a huge amount of experience points. He had to pile up his Dao techniques first. Then, Earth shook his head and smiled. I've digressed. Actually, I have another purpose for coming here this time. With that, he introduced the white-robed elder who had been smiling but hadn't said anything to Jiang Xi. Jiang Xi, this is Lord Mo Qian. Lord Mo Qian. Someone exclaimed. It was Mu Chuan, accompanied by Xian Tian and Li Baibai, who had walked out of the manor. Mu Chuan looked very surprised, as if he had discovered something extraordinary. Chapter 314. Ha, looks like someone is one step ahead of us. Earth laughed. The elder in grey robes called Mo Qian shook his head. Timing is better than being early. Luck has nothing to do with time. Greetings, Lord Mo Qian. Mu Chuan took a few steps forward and bowed solemnly. Jiang Xi, Xian Tian, and Li Baibai were all stunned by this scene. Mu Chuan was a late-stage primordial soul cultivator. Could Lord Mo Qian be in the Tao integration stage? Let me introduce you. Jiang Xi, this is Lord Mo Qian from the Tao Alliance Heavenly Court's Time Hall. Earth smiled at Jiang Xi. The Tao Alliance Heavenly Court's Time Hall. Xian Tian and Li Baibai were confused. However, Jiang Xi was shocked. He had learned about the Tao Alliance Heavenly Court from his master, Taoist Go. There were a total of 36 halls in the Tao Alliance Heavenly Court, and the Time Hall was one of them. Those who could enter were at least in the Tao integration stage. You're wrong. I'm not in the Tao integration stage. Like Earth and Mu Chuan, I'm in the late-stage primordial soul stage. Mo Qian smiled faintly, as though he could see through Jiang Xi's thoughts. I wouldn't dare to compare myself to Lord Mo Qian. Although you're in the late-stage primordial soul stage, your strength is no different from a Tao integration stage cultivator. Mu Chuan hurriedly said respectfully. Earth also bowed to show his respect. Alright, let's get down to business. Mo Qian shook his head and said to Li Baibai, You're Li Baibai. Li Baibai was still in shock. Hearing this, she nodded blankly. Are you willing to be my disciple? Mo Qian asked. Li Baibai was stunned. Since when did she become so popular? Lord Mo Qian, is Li Baibai's Tao technique. Mu Chuan was shocked. However, it's related to time. Mo Qian nodded. No wonder the sect leader and I couldn't tell the origin of her Tao technique. Mu Chuan was enlightened. He persuaded Li Baibai. If that's the case, Li Baibai, it's most suitable for you to be Lord Mo Qian's disciple. Let me remind you. Once you enter the flowing time hall, you won't be allowed to leave unless you've reached a certain level of cultivation. The Tao technique that you are cultivating is very difficult. You might not be able to cultivate it successfully even after 100 years or 1,000 years, Mo Qian said. Li Baibai didn't hesitate this time. She was also a decisive person. She immediately agreed. Good, good, good. Mo Qian nodded in satisfaction. Jiang Xi and Xian Tian looked at each other. They were both pleasantly surprised for Li Baibai. Now, the future of the three of them was settled. Needless to say, Jiang Xi would become a core disciple of the Purple Heaven sect once he entered the top 3,600 in the finals. In the entire human race of the universe, other than Taoism, Buddhism, and Sword Gate, the Purple Heaven sect was the strongest. Now that Xian Tian had become a disciple of the Tsangyan sect, he had the opportunity to become a disciple of a Tao integration powerhouse. Although the Tsangyan sect was not comparable to the Purple Heaven sect, it was still a top immortal Tao sect that ruled over a star region. Since Li Baibai could become a disciple of an expert from the Tao Alliance's Time Moon Hall, his future would definitely not be too bad. They seemed to have stepped onto a new starting point and started a new journey. Although the three of them didn't say it out loud, they all had the same belief in their hearts. While everyone was pursuing a higher cultivation level, they also wanted to protect Earth. In the past, Xian Tian and Li Baibai had protected Earth from the monsters. Now, it was Jiang Xi who was protecting Earth. Xian Tian and Li Baibai, on the other hand, had fallen. Given their personalities, they naturally didn't want to put such a heavy burden on Jiang Xi alone. They wanted to prove that they weren't too bad either. Finally, it was time to leave. Mo Qian was going to return to the Tao Alliance's Heavenly Court. Therefore, Li Baibai had to leave with him. No one knew how long it would take for her to return. Although there was an interstellar transportation array, Mo Qian had said that she couldn't leave the Time Moon Hall unless she succeeded in her cultivation. Li Baibai's departure saddened Jiang Daoda the most. This was because Jiang Daoda had worshipped Li Baibai since she was young and saw her as a role model. You should cultivate well too. Don't cause trouble for your brother. Li Baibai intimately pinched Jiang Daodu's face. She chatted with Jiang Daodu for a while before turning her gaze to Jiang Xi and Xian Tian. Big brother, third brother, don't slack off. Don't let me overtake you if you're not careful. Alright, let's see who's more powerful in 100 years. Xian Tian was also very heroic. Jiang Xi smiled but didn't say anything. He had never been afraid of anyone when it came to cultivation speed. Li Baibai valiantly waved her hand and left. Xian Tian also followed Mu Chuan to the Zhangyin sect. Daoda Manor once again quieted down. Big brother and sister Baibai are already working so hard. I can't slack off either. Jiang Xi collected his thoughts and returned to the cultivation room with a determined gaze. He first thought about the battle with Mu Ning. Using the sword intent as a medium to facilitate the fusion of wind and fire, the power of that sword surpassed the simple superposition of the previous domains. Unfortunately, it's still too far away from Mu Ning's path of life. If I had the Gale path or the path of fire, or the sword domain, I definitely wouldn't have lost so miserably. The path of sword was also a special Dao technique. It was not inferior to the path of life, and it was better at fighting. Even if he was only at the domain stage, it would still greatly increase his strength. With this thought, Jiang Xi opened the experience panel, Cultivation, Nascent Soul, Late Stage 1. 06 million/1. 06 million, Dao Technique, Gale Domain, 5 million/5 million, Fire Domain, 5 million/5 million, Sword Intent, 1 million/1 million, Amplitude, 100 Deduction, 10,000 experience points per time. Cultivation method, Purple Cloud Sword Scripture, Peacock Visualization experience points, 37,468 million, 3.7 billion points. Finally, I don't have to be stingy when it comes to deductions. Jiang Xi laughed. Deducing once would cost 10,000 EXP. 100 million experience points could only be used for 10,000 deductions. Gale and Fire Domain were rare Dao techniques, and the Path of Sword was even more special. Whether it was to deduce the Path of Gale, Fire Domain, or the Sword Domain, the difficulty was very high. For the past 10 years, he had not succeeded in deductions. In addition to the high difficulty of deductions, the number of deductions was too low. The round-robin competition will be attended by the 2nd to the 100th place in the 360 divisions, a total of 35,640 people. One-on-one, each person will have to fight 35,639 battles, 36 battles a day, which will last for nearly 3 years. In this way, I still have a chance to improve my Dao techniques. Let's begin the deduction. No matter what, I have to make a breakthrough. If he made a breakthrough in any of these 3 Dao techniques, his strength would improve even more. Mu Chuan and Eartha's words were still echoing in his mind. Could he only make it to the top 500 in the finals? Jiang Xi did not believe it. Use the Purple Cloud Sword Scripture and Sword Intent to deduce once. Use the Gale Domain to deduce once. Use the Fire Domain to deduce once. He repeated the words in his heart without stopping for a moment. His experience points were rapidly depleting. The feeling of success in his heart was getting stronger and stronger. Chapter 315. While Jiang Xi was deducing Taoist methods, the first round-robin of the 9 regions genius competition was also going on. A total of 35,640 people in the Kanglin Star region were competing for the remaining 3,240 spots in the finals. Compared with competing for the first place in the division, the chances of qualifying for the finals in the round-robin were much higher. For example, the strong contestants who were eliminated in Division 101. Mo Tianba, Wang Jingyuan, Double Gun Tycoon, and the others. In such a competition, if there were no accidents, they would all qualify for the finals in the end. Jiang Xi would certainly have no problems. After finishing the 36 matches a day, he spent all his time on cultivation. Such a competition was very easy for him. The competition that others needed to do their best was just a place for him to hone his Taoist methods and moves. In addition, Jiang Daoda knew that Jiang Xi was looking for a breakthrough, so she didn't disturb him. Instead, she took the initiative to take on more responsibilities. For example, she occasionally went to Earth to help Jiang Xi patrol. Then she worked hard to develop the Mountain Sea Star trade and tried to become a powerful helper for Jiang Xi. Just like that, time flew. 3 years passed in a flash. On May 5th, the 110th year of the new moon era, the round-robin competition in the Kanglan Star region finally came to the last day. There was only one picture left on the map of the Sky Span Mountain hanging in the sky. It was the last match. In the picture, Jiang Xi, the star contestant of the Kanglan Star region, was fighting with another contestant. Now, 3 years had passed. Jiang Xi's name had already spread to all the planets of the major life galaxies in the Kanglan Star region. He was even more famous than the young shepherd boy, Mu Ning. Especially on the Kanglan Star, Jiang Xi had to wear a disguise mask to go out. Otherwise, he would be surrounded and asked for his autograph. At this time, in the main hall surrounded by the starry sky in the Zixiao Star region of the Zixiao domain, a man in a green robe with disheveled hair and a man in a suit with a handsome face. They were still sitting opposite each other in the starry sky. The two of them seemed to have not moved in the past few years. In the center of the hall, the colorful light of the Sky Span Mountain was flowing. "Old Chu, look at this little guy. He has made a lot of progress." The man in a green robe was a little surprised. He waved his hand, and the round-robin competition in the Kanglan Star region appeared on the map. The unlucky little guy from 3 years ago. Didn't he see it last time? With his strength, he can at most break into the top 500. The man in armor felt a little bored. "Just watch." The green-robed man smiled. The armored man's eyes narrowed, and he began to take this matter seriously. Although their mission was to supervise the entire 9 Zones Genius battle, the two of them didn't have the same mission. However, Immortal's authority was greater than his. He had some ability to control the heavenly mountain river diagram. Through the sky-piercing mountain and river diagram, he could see the specific situation of the participants. In the cosmos of the Skyspan Mountain River diagram, on a giant meteorite, Jiang Xi and a disdainful handsome young man stood opposite each other. Both sides exuded powerful auras and Taoist rhymes circulated. Suddenly, the handsome young man took the initiative to attack. The full moon scimitar in his hand drew an arc, wanting to cut Jiang Xi in half. However, the moment he made his move, Jiang Xi merely chuckled. The area within a radius of 1,000 kilometers was covered by an invisible domain. A sword shadow, like a fish, shot out from the void behind the young man and pierced through his body like a bolt of lightning. The handsome young man's expression froze, and he stopped breathing. Jiang Xi won. His attack was clean and tidy, completely crushing the opponent. In the Starry Sky Palace, the green-robed man, Immortal, smiled and looked at the armored man, Chu Xian. "How is it?" "Sword domain. And it's a perfect sword domain." Chu Xian's eyes lit up. "That's not all. Think about his sword realm 3 years ago." Immortal smiled. "See. What a terrifying speed of improvement. It had only been 3 years. Of course Chu Xian remembered. This little guy called Jiang Xi's sword realm back then was the true meaning of the sword. And now, not only had it become the sword domain, but he'd also cultivated it to perfection. This Jiang Xi can enter the top 300 in the finals. Chu Xian stared at Jiang Xi's figure on the screen and suddenly said. Last time, he'd been lucky and entered the top 300. This time, he'd definitely enter. And the top 300 and the top 500 were two completely different concepts. Immortal only smiled and didn't say anything. What if this little guy had a breakthrough in the finals? Inside the sky-piercing mountain and river diagram, Jiang Xi won easily. In fact, whether he won or not didn't affect him at all. Because his ranking in the round-robin competition had already been confirmed as first place, he'd advanced to the finals of the 9 Zones Genius competition. However, Jiang Xi didn't immediately leave the sky-piercing mountain and river diagram. He seemed to be waiting for something. Suddenly, a teleportation force appeared around him. The Milky Way spun and he appeared on a vast starry continent. On this continent, all the young geniuses who'd advanced to the finals were gathered. Including him, there were a total of 3,600 people. Jiang Xi. In the distance, a young boy's figure flashed and appeared in front of Jiang Xi. Mu Ning. Jiang Xi nodded and smiled. You freak, it's only been 3 years. Your sword domain is perfect. Mu Ning's expression was exaggerated. Hey, let's not talk about who's freak. Even if my sword domain is perfect, I'm still not your match. Jiang Xi said unhappily. Ha, at least you know your limits. Mu Ning laughed. It sounded very arrogant, but his eyes were very clean, not the kind that had malicious intentions. Jiang Xi smiled helplessly. There was nothing he could do when encountering such a naive guy. At the same time, he secretly checked the changes on the experience panel. Sword domain, October 10th 10, amplitude, 200, remaining experience points, 2,815. 9 million, he was lucky enough to successfully deduce the sword domain a month ago. That was why he could easily win just now. In terms of experience points consumption, he had consumed more than 900 million. Of course, this included the consumption of the Gale domain and the Fire domain. The deduction of the sword domain alone had consumed more than 200 million experience points. The most obvious change this time is that the amplitude has reached 200 times, which is double from before. I just don't know how far away I am compared to that freak Mu Ning. Jiang Xi calculated in his heart. While the two were talking and laughing, the other geniuses of the Blue Star region were also observing and discussing the two of them. Since Mu Ning did not participate in the round-robin competition, they had not seen much of him. However, Jiang Xi was different. Every one of them had fought with Jiang Xi and knew how terrifying Jiang Xi was. Everyone understood that Mu Ning and Jiang Xi were no longer on the same level as them. These two people were aiming for the top 3,600 in the finals. As for them, they were probably just going through the motions. While everyone was bustling with noise and excitement, a figure appeared out of thin air above this starry sky continent. It was a burly man with a long beard and a long saber on his back. His aura was very domineering. As soon as he appeared, an invisible pressure immediately spread out. Chapter 316. The 3,600 geniuses of the Kanglan Star region suddenly fell silent. Some of the weaker ones even turned pale and broke out in a cold sweat under this terrifying pressure. Is this the Tao integration powerhouse of the Tsungyan sect who cultivates the Tao of the saber? Even a wisp of spiritual consciousness in the sky connecting mountain and river painting can emit such power. Jiang Xi was also shocked. After Xian Tian entered the Tsungyan sect, he once revealed information about the Tao integration grandmaster of the Tsungyan sect. The Tao integration grandmaster of the Tsungyan sect, Wei Sheng, is a Tao of the saber. It is said that his actual combat power has surpassed the Tao integration stage. This was the slightest bit of information that he had learned. Beyond the Tao integration stage, Jiang Xi was fascinated. At this moment, a thunderous voice sounded in this starry sky continent. The young people of this year are very good. The second stage of the finals will begin in a year. I hope you can continue to work hard and win glory for the Kanglan Star region. The dark-faced man's eyes were like torches as he swept his gaze over everyone. Then, he disappeared. The big boss finished his lecture, the geniuses breathed a sigh of relief and left the sky connecting mountain and river painting. Jiang Xi, see you in a year. Mu Ning also waved his hand and disappeared. Jiang Xi nodded. When his spiritual consciousness returned to his body, he seemed to be able to feel the pressure just now. When he came out of the practice room, Jiang Daodu was waiting outside. The little girl smiled and said, "Brother, congratulations. It's still early. Congratulate me when I get first place in the universe." Jiang Xi was very arrogant in front of Jiang Daodu. "Ha, you only know how to brag." Jiang Daodu wrinkled her nose. "Let's go home and have a look. I haven't been back for 3 years." Jiang Xi smiled. The two left Daodu Manor side by side. Soon, they returned to Earth through the interstellar transmission array. Although someone in the Tsangyan sect secretly investigated Jiang Xi's background, they found nothing. Because the interstellar transmission array on the first moon of Earth had been marked by Daoist Gu, the coordinates of Earth's interstellar transmission were encrypted Earth, Xiantian City. Jiang Xi and Jiang Dudu appeared in a teleportation array. He had set up this teleportation array the last time he returned to Earth. Now that the situation on Earth had changed drastically, in comparison, Xiantian City was safer and more secretive than Pak Sun Province. Therefore, he destroyed the teleportation array in Pak Sun Province. The fewer people who knew about the teleportation array, the better. At this stage, Earth was still not suitable for connecting to the stars. Lord Jiang Xi, Hu Yan, Chu Zhe, and Qiu Hong, who had been waiting here for a long time, bowed respectfully. The three of them had now completely replaced the original responsibilities of Jiang Xi, Xian Tian, and Li Baibai. To guard the entire Great Xia Alliance. Hu Yan, congratulations, you've broken through to the nascent soul stage. Jiang Xi laughed. It's mainly because Milord nurtured me well. Hu Yan did not dare to claim the credit. Jiang Xi smiled. As early as 10 years ago, he had selected a cultivation technique from his inherited memories and passed it to Hu Yan. Now, Hu Yan had finally broken through and reached the early nascent soul stage. Hu Yan's breakthrough also made Jiang Xi feel more at ease. Because in the future, he, Xian Tian, and Li Baibai would only return to Earth less and less frequently. The Great Xia Alliance had just been established, and it was not that stable internally. There had to be a cultivator who was strong enough to suppress everything. One nascent soul stage cultivator was enough. After that, Jiang Xi held Jiang Dudu's hand and like ordinary people, mingled with the passers-by and strolled around Earth. Compared to the cruel competition in the universe, Earth was like a quiet haven. In the blue sky, there was no sign of the Tongtian mountain river diagram. It was as if it was isolated from the universe. 10 years had passed, and Earth's environment had changed greatly. Brand new cities were built in the former wilderness. The trend of cultivation had become more prosperous. Everyone did not relax just because the monsters were sealed in the Grotto Heaven's secret realms. Instead, because of the rich resources, more and more martial artists were produced. Jiang Xi was very happy to see such a situation. Being strong as a whole was true strength. He believed that if this continued, in another 100 years, 1,000 years, or even 10,000 years, Earth would definitely not be inferior to the level 4 or even level 5 planets of the Tao Alliance. When the two of them came to the Dark Shadow Kingdom to patrol, Jiang Xi received a message in his communication bead. He scanned it with his spiritual sense and found that it was a message from Earth. After reading the content, Jiang Xi was pleasantly surprised. This Lord Commander had given him another great gift. "Brother, what's the good news?" Jiang Dudu asked curiously. "Something good. Earth sent me some information about some young geniuses from other star zones that I need to pay attention to," Jiang Xi said with a smile. As the Heavenly Court's law enforcement commander in the Blue Star Zone, Earth had the means to obtain information about geniuses from other star zones. That's not bad. Jiang Dudu was pleasantly surprised for Jiang Xi. She had been running the Mountain Sea Star trade for the past 10 years and knew the importance of information. Know yourself and know your enemy. It was the same in business and on the battlefield. Jiang Xi was about to participate in the finals. At that time, all the geniuses from different star zones would gather. If he did not know the strength of his opponents, he would be at a disadvantage. Next, the two of them traveled around Earth. Jiang Xi diverted part of his attention to read the information. Hiss. Ji Wei, a young genius from the Thousand Birds star zone of the Hunyuan domain, killed 1 billion contestants in the division battles. Jiang Xi was stunned by the first piece of information. There was also a scene of Ji Wei's attack in the information. He hurriedly checked it. He saw a cold young man with a lock of white hair on his forehead facing more than 100,000 contestants. Suddenly, the space within 1,000 kilometers collapsed. The space seemed to have turned into glass shards. The contestants inside didn't even have the chance to scream before they died. A special Tao technique, the Tao of nothingness. He was even stronger than Mu Ning. The information stated that he possessed a special Tao of heaven and earth and had the strength to compete for the first place in the finals. Jiang Daodu was most familiar with Jiang Xi's expressions and movements. She could tell at a glance that Jiang Xi was frightened. What happened? Why are you so scared? Jiang Xi suppressed the shock in his heart and sent the information to her. Jiang Daodu was also dumbfounded after reading it. Then she turned her head and said, "Brother, I think you'd better forget about the first place. You'd better fight for the 300th or 500th place." Jiang Xi took a deep breath and continued to read the information of other geniuses. Kuang Lang, the first place in the Jiuyou star zone of the Guanghan domain, has a special Tao of heaven and earth. Yan Jiufeng, the first place in the fire-splitting star zone of the Tianyang domain, has a rare Tao of heaven and earth. Shui Tong, Wuji domain, Feng Lu. When the two of them wandered around Earth, Jiang Xi also finished reading the whole information. The shock in his heart could not be calmed down for a long time. In the information sent to him by Earth, there were 3 people who possessed a special Tao of heaven and earth. They were Ji Wei, Mu Ning, and Kuang Lang. 27 of them had a rare Tao of heaven and earth. 265 of them had an ordinary Tao of heaven and earth. There were a total of 295 geniuses at the Tao of heaven and earth level. Chapter 317. The 9 realms of the Tao Alliance were controlled by the 3 gates and 6 sets. The names of the realms also came from the 9 sections. They were the Tao realm, Buddhist realm, Sword realm, Zixiao realm, Guanghan realm, Hunyuan realm, Tianyang realm, Wuji realm, and True Mystic realm. While Jiang Xi was familiarizing himself with the information of his opponents, the geniuses of the 9 realms were also collecting information on the others through various means. Inside the famous Raging Sun cave in the fiery split star zone of the Tianyang realm, Yan Jiufeng was the young master of this cave. She was wearing a fiery red dress and was lying on her stomach beside a fire pond. She was holding a jade slip and carefully examining it. The girl with a fair face and a good figure frowned, looked serious, and sometimes excited. Experts are as common as clouds, experts are as common as clouds. After a while, she said to a woman in armor beside her, "Why hasn't the Zixiao realm sent over the Kanglan star zone?" The armored woman replied respectfully, "The young cultivators of the Kanglan star zone have always been weak. In the past 50,000 years, the highest ranking in the finals was only 3,601. Our intelligence agency hasn't developed there, so it's not easy to collect information." Weak? Then forget it. It's boring. Yan Jiufeng waved her hand. At this moment, the armored woman's communication bead lit up. She quickly said, "I've collected information on the participants of the Kanglan star zone." "How many?" Yan Jiufeng didn't even look up. She was obviously not interested. "Just 2. Then read them to me." The first one is Mu Ning. He has a special Tao technique, the Tao of life. He has the strength to reach the top 10 in the finals. The armored woman sounded surprised. "Damn. didn't they say the young cultivators of the Kanglan Star Zone were weak? Yen Jiufeng got up from the fire pond and widened her eyes. What about the other one? She asked. The armored woman replied, the other one is Jiang Xi. He also has a special Dao technique. What? Another special Dao technique? How are we supposed to play? Yen Jiufeng interrupted her. Young master, it's a special Dao technique, the sword realm. According to the information, this person has the strength to reach the top 300 in the finals. That's good. You don't need to read the rest, Yen Jiufeng waved her hand. In a desolate galaxy in the Hunyuan region, it was dark and deathly still. A cold youth with a lock of white hair on his forehead sat cross-legged in the starry sky. The starry sky around him seemed to be fluctuating, shattering, and reassembling along with his breathing. He was also looking for information on geniuses from other star zones. Are there 2 other people with special Daos of heaven and earth? No one can stop me. Guanghan Domain, 9 Nether Star Zone. On a cold planet, there was a young man named Wild Waves. Even after reading the information of the geniuses from other star regions, he was still extremely arrogant. In the Black Mountain Star Zone of the Wuji Domain. In the middle of the sea of blood, mountains of corpses stood tall. A cultivator who looked like a child sat on the highest mountain of corpses, overlooking the entire blood sea. Zixiao region, Kanglan Star region. In the Forgotten River Galaxy, on a quiet planet with life. Beside a clear lake, an old water buffalo was strolling leisurely. The young shepherd boy, Mu Ning, was leaning against a willow tree with a green foxtail in his mouth. He held a jade slip in his hand and looked at it. Earth. Jiang Xi focused his gaze and regained his composure. According to the information, there were a total of 295 geniuses with Daos of heaven and earth. But he understood that there were far more than that. Those geniuses with special Dao domains are not inferior to ordinary Daos of heaven and earth in terms of combat power. For example, he had a special sword domain, and it was already in the perfected state. Through the experience points panel, he calculated, a perfected sword domain could provide an amplitude of 200 times. A perfected ordinary Dao of heaven and earth could provide an amplitude of 500 times. According to the degree of comprehension, a Dao of heaven and earth could be divided into 10 levels. His special Dao technique, the sword domain, was equivalent to 4 levels of an ordinary Dao of heaven and earth. Moreover, he had 2 rare Dao domains, Gale and Fire. The geniuses of the universe gather. Jiang Xi's eyes became firm again. There was still a year before the finals began. It was not time to admit defeat yet. In the coming days, he would continue to deduce. As long as he could make a breakthrough in the Gale and Fire domains, his strength would be further improved. As for the sword domain, Jiang Xi did not dare to think about it now. As a special Dao technique, it would be extremely difficult to deduce the stage of the Dao of heaven and earth. Soon, another year had passed. New Moon Era 111, August 8th. The first stage of the competition in each of the 3,600 star zones had ended. The finals of the 9 zones genius tournament had begun. Jiang Xi rushed from Earth to planet Sanglan. Waterfront City's teleportation hall. Guard Captain Gong Shi's eyes lit up when he saw Jiang Xi. Greetings, Lord Jiang Xi. Gong Shi made an exaggerated salute. No need to be so polite. Jiang Xi only smiled lightly, then waved his hand and left. Gong Shi and Shen Wanxi were good friends, and they had met a few times over the years. Thank you, Lord Jiang Xi. I wish you a great victory in the finals. Gong Shi's face was full of smiles as he sent Jiang Xi out of the hall. He looked at Riverward's back and muttered in his heart, Your Excellency, you must get a good ranking. After Jiang Xi left the teleportation hall, he wiped his face and changed his appearance. If he walked back to Daoda Manor with his real appearance, he would definitely be surrounded by people all the way. It would be the next day when he returned. He had no choice. He was too famous now. Now, the people of planet Sung Lan regarded him as their hope and glory. After returning to Daoda Manor, Jiang Daodu was busy with the Mountain Sea Star trade, so she didn't stay on Earth for long and had already returned. She knew that Jiang Xi was going to participate in the finals tomorrow, so she had arranged everything in advance. For example, the defense array of the manor, the meditation array of the training room, and so on were all checked many times. She ensured that there wouldn't be any accidents on the way. Jiang Xi was quite satisfied with this. The little girl was becoming more and more considerate. "Brother, do your best." Jiang Daodu waved her fist, even more excited than Jiang Xi. "Just wait and see." Jiang Xi nodded vigorously. Then, he closed his eyes and entered the Tongtian Mountain River, painting through the communication bead. It was the Starry Sky continent that he had arrived at the end of the last round-robin competition. Jiang Xi later learned the name of this continent. It was called Kanglan Continent. 3,600 contestants from the Kanglan Star region were gathered here. "Jiang Xi, over here." Mu Ning called out to him again. Jiang Xi walked over with a smile. This young shepherd boy wearing a straw hat and a short shirt looked very excited. "Jiang Xi, have you seen the information of the geniuses from the other star regions? There are many experts." Mu Ning asked. "Are you afraid?" Jiang Xi asked back. "What's there to be afraid of?" Mu Ning glared at him. Then, he asked curiously, "By the way, you've improved so quickly. Did you improve again in the past year?" "No." Jiang Xi shook his head. "I don't believe it." "Ha, believe it or not." Chapter 318. Jiang Xi didn't want to explain. No means no. The Tao of heaven and earth was indeed difficult to deduce. Over the past year, he hadn't made any breakthroughs in the Gale domain and the Fire domain. However, the feeling of a breakthrough was getting clearer and clearer. Soon. While Jiang Xi and Mu Ning were talking, the other young geniuses of the Kanglan Star region were also full of excitement and anticipation. Even though they knew that their strength might be a little weaker, everyone still hoped to get lucky and get a good ranking in the finals of the 9 regions genius battle. If they were lucky enough to enter the Purple Heaven sect, they would have a meteoric rise. After a while, the burly man with a long beard and a long saber on his back appeared again in the sky above the Kanglan continent. "My name is Wei Sheng. I will lead you to participate in the finals of the 9 regions genius battle." His voice echoed on the continent. "Greetings, Lord Wei Sheng." Many geniuses immediately saluted. While Jiang Xi saluted, he thought to himself, "Sure enough, it's the Tao reunion, old ancestor of the Zhangyan sect." He also had a good impression of this burly man because Wei Sheng was now Xian Tian's master. They were family. Wei Sheng nodded slightly. His dignified eyes made people not dare to look directly at him. He fixed his eyes on Mu Ning and said, "Mu Ning, this time, among the 3,600 geniuses of the Kanglan Star region, you are the only one who has a chance to enter the top 10 of the finals. I hope you can perform well in the finals and win glory for the Kanglan Star region and wash away the shame of the Kanglan Star region for countless years. Mu Ning will remember." Mu Ning replied respectfully. In addition, Wei Sheng glanced around and said, "Only Jiang Xi has the strength to make a breakthrough. As for the others, I hope you can perform better and do your best. Don't embarrass the Kanglan Star region." The geniuses present were immediately a little unconvinced. Although they knew that their strength was worse than Jiang Xi and Mu Ning's, it was uncomfortable to be said in public like this. Unconvinced? Very well, I hope you can hold your breath. In the finals of the 9 regions genius battle, there have been cases of sudden breakthroughs. If any of you can have a big explosion, I will personally reward him. Wei Sheng sneered as soon as these words were spoken. The eyes of the geniuses lit up and they were filled with battle intent. Although Wei Sheng was expressionless, he nodded in satisfaction in his heart. The effect of the lecture was very good. All right, it's about time. I'll bring you to the Purple Clouds continent. Wei Sheng waved his hand, and the Milky Way spun. In the blink of an eye, everyone found themselves in a different environment. He was standing on a green jade platform that was millions of square kilometers in size. And this green jade platform was located on an even more vast continent. Purple Clouds continent. At this time, on the green jade platform, there was a sea of people, stretching as far as the eye could see. Each of the 3,600 star zones of the Tao Alliance had sent 3,600 geniuses to participate in the finals. In total, there were 96 million people gathered here. Just looking at the numbers, he didn't think much of it. But now that he saw so many people with his own eyes, the feeling was completely different. The geniuses of the Kanglan Star region were shocked to see this. How are we going to compete? Jiang Xi was puzzled. Or mix the people together, fight each other, and survive to the end? He shook his head. If it was that simple, it would be too lame. At the same time, the people of the Kanglan Star region arrived. The people of the other star zones immediately turned their attention to them. The people of the Kanglan Star region are here. Which one is Mu Ning? I think it's that young shepherd boy who doesn't wear shoes and a straw hat. Our sect master said that this person has the strength to make it to the top 10 of the finals. I wonder if it's true. Anyway, he's a strong opponent. I remember there's a guy named Jiang Xi in the Kanglan Star region. I heard that his strength is also not bad. He's SSO. He's only in the top 300 or 500. He's not worth paying attention to. You're talking as if you can make it to the top 500. Everyone's attention was obviously on Mu Ning. As for Jiang Xi, as someone said just now, he was not worth paying attention to. With the mentality of watching a show, they would only look up and not down. Jiang Xi's expression was very indifferent. The other geniuses of the Kanglan Star region were indignant because no one paid attention to them. At this time, 3,600 geniuses from another star zone were transmitted over. It's Zhi Wei. Zhi Wei is here. Our sacred master said that Zhi Wei's strength has already determined that he will be the first in this year's finals. What's his strength? On the huge green jade platform, exclamations rose and fell one after another. It was an uproar. An indifferent young man with a wisp of white hair on his forehead walked in front of the geniuses of the Thousand Bird Star region and came to the green jade platform. Jiang Xi and Mu Ning also looked over. He's very strong. He's even stronger than what the information said. He's the real freak. Mu Ning's expression was solemn. It's not time to admit defeat yet, Jiang Xi said with a smile. Of course. I'm not afraid of him. Mu Ning snorted. Then, the geniuses of various star zones arrived one after another. On this huge green jade platform, they were divided into 3,600 square arrays and arranged neatly. The Tao reunion experts of each star zone stood in the air above their respective arrays, waiting quietly. After an unknown period of time, two huge figures appeared in the starry sky. One of them was a man in a green robe with disheveled hair. The other was a man in a suit of armor with a handsome face. They were Immortal Yi and Chu Xian, who were supervising the 9 zones genius battle. My name is Yu Yang, the man in the green robe said leisurely. My name is Chu He, the man in the suit of armor said in a low voice. The 3,600 Tao reunion experts immediately bowed respectfully and said in unison, Greetings, exalted immortals. Greetings, exalted immortals. The 129. 6 million young geniuses also bowed along with the Tao reunion experts. But many people were confused, especially those who didn't have a master. They didn't understand what exalted immortals were. Exalted immortals? Were they immortals? Jiang Xi was only a little surprised, but he wasn't particularly shocked. Because in the inheritance memory left by Taoist Gu, there was also an introduction to the existence above Tao reunion. Tao reunion experts had a lifespan of at most 10,000 years. Their lifespan could only be extended when their cultivation reached a higher level. And the realm after Tao reunion was Tribulation Transcender. There were 9 tribulations in total. One tribulation was 10,000 years. In other words, the lifespan of a tribulation transcender could reach up to 100,000 years. I didn't expect 2 tribulation transcenders to preside over the finals. After all, it's a battle of geniuses that covers the entire human race in the universe. Jiang Xi understood. Just as this thought came to his mind. At this moment, another figure appeared in the starry sky. This figure was a middle-aged man with a resolute face wearing blood-red armor. This person seemed to be in existence of another level of life, and the entire starry sky faintly seemed to be in harmony with him. His iron-blooded aura spread throughout the entire purple clouds continent, giving people a kind of pressure that came from the depths of their souls. People couldn't help but tremble. He was too strong. What realm was this expert at? Chapter 319. Greetings, true monarch Iron Mountain. Immortal Yi Liang and Immortal Chu He were the first to bow to the middle-aged man. As soon as they bowed, the other Tao integration experts and geniuses did not dare to stop. Greetings, true monarch Iron Mountain. Orderly and loud voices echoed in the starry sky. Jiang Xi was truly shocked. True monarch. It was actually a true monarch. Those with such a title were definitely above the Tribulation Transcender realm, Tao Immortal. Above the 9 tribulations was Tao Immortal. This is ridiculous. The Purple Heaven sect actually sent a Tao Immortal to preside over the 9 regions genius battle. Jiang Xi was secretly shocked. There were a total of 3 immortals. This showed how powerful the Purple Heaven sect was. This was also one of the reasons why he did not dare to casually go to the Purple Heaven sect to deliver the inheritance. He could imagine if he told them that he had the Purple Heaven sword manual. With so many immortals in the Purple Heaven sect, any one of them who acted cruelly would be able to dissect his soul. Moreover, he might feel that such an act was cruel. But in the eyes of an immortal, he was just an ant. After everyone finished bowing, true monarch Iron Mountain looked expressionlessly at the 129. 6 million young geniuses, and his hoarse voice echoed throughout the Purple Heaven continent. In this 9 regions genius battle, I hope you will do your best to achieve good results and strive to become a disciple of the Purple Heaven sect. Those who fail, do not give up. Continue to work hard and contribute to the strengthening of the human race. We will remember your words, everyone said in unison. True monarch Iron Mountain nodded and disappeared. The pressure that lingered in the depths of his soul also dissipated. In the starry sky, Immortal Yi Liang and Immortal Chu He looked at each other in surprise. I didn't expect true monarch Iron Mountain to come personally. It seems that the 3 geniuses who comprehended the Tao of heaven and earth in this 9 regions genius battle have attracted the attention of the perfected monarch. Then, the 2 suppressed their surprise. Immortal Yi Liang said to the geniuses, let's first talk about the rules of the 9 regions genius battle. Everyone on the green jade platform immediately looked over. Immortal Yi Liang continued. In this final, there are a total of 129. 6 million participants in the 9 regions. Only 3,600 people can enter the Purple Heaven sect. First of all, the first stage is the Qingyun Dao trial. We have prepared an illusory space for each contestant. Every illusory space has 9 Qingyun paths. Each Qingyun Dao is divided into 9 trial spaces, each of which has a certain number of points. What you have to do is to go through the Qingyun Dao trial and gain points. The more points you have, the higher your ranking will be. Everyone only has one chance. Death is the end. After everyone dies, according to the final ranking, the first to the 360th can directly enter my Purple Heaven sect and become a disciple of the ninth heaven. From 361 to 13320, there are a total of 12,960 people. After 2 more rounds of the challenge tournament, the remaining 3,240 people will be chosen. These people can also directly enter my Purple Heaven sect and become disciples of the ninth heaven. As for the others, they're all eliminated. All eliminated, all eliminated, these words echoed throughout the entire Purple Clouds continent and the starry sky. All the geniuses were stunned. Jiang Xi was even more shocked. Just now, he was still thinking about how to compete in the finals. Unexpectedly, the rules given by the Purple Heaven sect were so simple and crude. More than 10 million people were eliminated in just one round. The top 3,600 people of the finals were selected. Suddenly, Jiang Xi was stunned. Qing Yun Dao, 9 steps, Ling Wan Road, 9 steps, they were so similar. Could there be a connection? Get ready, I will teleport you to your respective illusory space later, the voice of the immortal sounded again. The green jade platform that covered an area of millions of square kilometers was suddenly in an uproar. More than 10 million geniuses could no longer hold it in and started discussing. There are a total of 9 Qing Yun Dao trials in the Qing Yun Dao trial. The trial will definitely be more and more difficult. I wonder how many steps we have to pass before we have a chance to enter the top 13320. In short, the more we pass, the better. It seems cruel, but it's actually an opportunity. If it's really a battle royale or a challenge tournament, once we encounter those crazy people, we'll be eliminated. However, there are more opportunities in this kind of trial. Many geniuses who were previously just going through the motions reignited hope in their hearts at this moment. As long as they entered the top 13,320, they would be able to enter the next round. After 2 more challenge tournaments, they would be able to enter the top 3,600 and become a disciple of the Purple Heaven sect. Jiang Xi, why don't we compete to see who has a higher ranking in the Qing Yun Dao? Mu Ning raised his eyebrows. At this moment, Jiang Xi was still shocked by the relationship between Ling Wan Road and the Qing Yun Dao. Hearing this, he laughed and said, "No. I'm just giving it a try. If you win, I'll play you a new song. Come on, listening to your song will kill me." Hey, I only have a few songs that can kill people. The rest are all good. How many more songs do you want? Mu Ning insisted again and again. In the end, Jiang Xi couldn't dissuade the innocent young man and agreed. Isn't it just listening to songs? After a while, the immortal's voice sounded again. The Qing Yun Dao trial begins. All of a sudden, the galaxy rotated and everyone disappeared under the power of teleportation. Jiang Xi appeared in a bright and boundless space. Although he looked calm on the surface, his heart was in turmoil. In this illusory space, there were 9 Qing Yun Dao paths made of green jade. They were numbered 1 to 9. Each Qing Yun Dao path had 9 giant stone steps. This scene was too familiar. There was such an illusory space in the heavenly pavilion of the second grotto heaven of the Jade Pool mystic realm. However, in the illusory space in the heavenly pavilion, there was only one Ling Wan Road made of white jade. However, there were 9 Qing Yun Dao paths made of green jade. Could it be that this heavenly mountain river painting has some kind of connection with the Jade Pool mystic realm? To be more specific, is it related to the heavenly pavilion? Jiang Xi couldn't help but think so. He still remembered the last words that the spirit of the illusion, Ni Shang, had entrusted to him in the illusory space of the heavenly pavilion. Ni Shang told him to return to the heavenly pavilion after he cultivated his essence soul. By then, there would be great benefits for him. The heavenly mountain river painting was the supreme treasure of the Tao Alliance. What was the heavenly pavilion then? Jiang Xi's heart raced and he tried his best to suppress the shock in his heart. At this moment, a clear and crisp female voice sounded. "Trial taker, Please pay attention to the rules of the Qingyun Dao trial. Jiang Xi took a deep breath and temporarily put aside the suspicions and shock in his heart. He looked at a stone tablet in front of the 9 Qingyun Dao paths. The specific rules of this trial were written on it. Each of the 9 Ling Wan Road has 9 steps, and each step corresponds to a trial space. There are 100 trial targets in each level of the trial space. Kill all the trial targets and you will pass the trial. If you survive for 30 days, you will also pass the trial and continue to the next trial. Chapter 320. Jiang Xi continued to read on, only to see that there was a way to obtain points at the end. The points of the trial taker are determined according to the trial targets killed. The more you kill, the more points you will get. The specific points are as follows. The first Qingyun path, the 9th trial space, 1 point will be awarded for each trial target killed, totaling to 900 points. The second Qingyun path, the 9th trial space, 10 points will be awarded for each trial target killed, totaling to 9,000 points. For each Qingyun path, the points of each trial target will be increased by 10 times. For the 9th Qingyun path, the 9th trial space, 100 million points will be awarded for each trial target killed, totaling to 90 billion points. Jiang Xi took a deep breath and pondered for a while. I just don't know the specific difficulty of the trial. According to Immortal Ilyang just now, the final ranking will only be determined after everyone dies. In other words, none of the more than 10 million geniuses can pass all 9 Qingyun paths. Although Jiang Xi had the experience of going through Ling Wan Road on Earth, he was also worried that his experience would be wrong at this time. The rules of the Qingyun path and Ling Wan Road were similar, but it did not mean that the trial targets inside were similar. Hence, he did not let his guard down and instead focused 120% of his attention to take this trial seriously. He strode towards the first step of the first Qingyun path. Before he went up, Jiang Xi suddenly stopped in his tracks. In a flash of inspiration, an idea surfaced in his mind. There are 2 ways to pass each trial, either to kill all trial targets or to persist for 30 days without dying. Then what if I can last for a full 30 days in each level of the trial space, and only finish off all the trial targets at the last moment? In that case, there will be 270 days in one Qingyun path, which means that there will be 9 Qingyun paths in 2,430 days. That's more than 6 years. Jiang Xi's eyes lit up as he saw new hope. With that time, he could continue to deduce Dao techniques. If he broke through, his strength would be improved. If I do that, my ranking in the early stages of the trial may be much lower, or even at the bottom. However, once I break through, there will be great progress. Even if my luck is terrible and I don't succeed in my deduction, with my strength, as long as I don't die, I'll be able to catch up. Moreover, Jiang Xi's sharp intuition told him that he was about to succeed. After all, the deduction of the Gale domain and Ignis domain had already taken a long time, consumed a huge amount of EXP, and had been blackfaced so many times. If he still didn't succeed, it would be too unreasonable. With that thought in mind, Jiang Xi stepped onto the first step. He immediately used his spiritual senses and entered the first trial space of the first stage of the Qingyun Dao. First, there was a blue stone round platform similar to the one in Ling Wan Road. Next to it stood a blue stone pillar. Words appeared on it. Participant, Jiang Xi points, 0 ranking, none. There was a line of words below, which made Jiang Xi even more certain that his assumption was correct. If you can kill them all or survive for 30 days, you will pass the trial. After that, it was the familiar equipment selection process. Jiang Xi chose the supreme grade spirit weapon, the Killer Shadow Sword. After everything was ready, the spirit of the illusion of the Qingyun Dao said, "Participant, please kill 100 dragon pythons of the demon race within 30 days. Dragon pythons? Jiang Xi was stunned for a moment. I'm going to get the top demon bloodline right away. On Earth, he could easily defeat the dragon pythons. What about here? In the next moment, the space changed and a vast swamp appeared outside the bluestone round platform. There were dark clouds and black rain while lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Roar! Kill the humans. Drink their blood and eat their flesh. 100 dragon pythons with wings on their backs hovered above the swamp, emitting a monstrous ferocious aura as they roared at Jiang Xi. These dragon pythons are all at the perfected nascent soul realm. Jiang Xi was slightly shocked, but he soon regained his composure. He leaped and took the initiative to rush out. The Dao runes emitted by the dragon pythons were not strong. Their Dao realm was very low, but their cultivation level was high. In addition, their bloodline power was definitely much stronger. However, when Jiang Xi used the sword domain to easily kill a dragon python, he was confident. Kill 99 of them first and leave the last one alive. Yes, that's it. At the same time, in the Tongtian River diagram of the Purple Clouds continent, Immortal Ilyang and Immortal Chuha had been standing in the starry sky, supervising the progress of the 9 regions genius battle. Below, on the huge green jade platform, 3,600 Dao integration powerhouses were gathered together and chatting with each other. According to the rules, the Qingyun Dao trial of the 9 regions genius battle would only be announced to the public with a simple ranking. The specific trial content was confidential. They would only continue to use the Tongtian River diagram to spread the news of the battle to the entire 9 regions of the Dao Alliance. However, the Dao integration powerhouses had the authority to check the situation of the various illusory spaces of the Qingyun Dao trial. 5 poisons, your disciple is very impressive. He even entered the top 10 in the first trial space of the Qingyun Dao trial. A Dao integration powerhouse from the Qianyao Star region exclaimed in surprise. You flatter me. I can't compare to Ji Wei from the Qianyao Star region. That young man is really strong. Although the 5 poisons shook his head, his face was full of pride. It was true that Ji Wei came from the Qianyao Star region, but he was not the disciple of that Dao integration powerhouse. However, the 5 poisons disciple had temporarily entered the top 10, so the significance was different. Ji Wei is indeed impressive. Others are still working hard in the first Qingyun Dao trial, but he's about to enter the second one. He's indeed a rare genius of the Dao Alliance. The other Dao integration powerhouses also sighed and changed the topic to Ji Wei. On the other hand, the Dao integration powerhouse of the Kanglan Star region, Wei Sheng, remained silent and frowned. It's normal for Mu Ning to enter the top 20. But what is that little fellow, Jiangxi, doing? He stopped after killing 99 of them. He could observe the situation in the illusory space that Jiang Xi was in. After Jiang Xi easily killed 99 dragon pythons, he trapped the last dragon python with the power of his domain. Then, he sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate. Wei Sheng valued Jiang Xi very much. This was because his new disciple, Xian Tian, was Jiang Xi's sworn brother. The two of them were also related by blood. Now, Jiang Xi's passive attitude towards the competition made him feel a little embarrassed. All 96 million people were desperately trying to pass the trial, but Jiang Xi was the only one who was leisurely. At this moment, the 5 poisons and some other Dao integration powerhouses came to Wei Sheng. Old Wei, I remember that the Kanglan Star region is known as the star region with the best interstellar trade in the Zixiao domain. However, in the past 50,000 years, no one has been able to enter the top 3,600 in the 9 regions genius battle. This time, there are actually 2 people who have a chance to enter. That's really rare. The 5 poisons spoke in a strange tone, and it was unknown whether he had good or bad intentions. Wei Sheng's face darkened. What he was afraid of had happened. Others might not be able to tell, but of course, he could. This was malicious. Chapter 321. Wei Sheng's face was sullen. The reason being, he and the Five Poisons old geezer had a feud in the early years. It even developed to the point of a life-and-death duel, which was later resolved after the mediation of the higher-ups. The Five Poisons old geezer mentioned the shameful record of the Pale Blue Star region in front of so many people because he naturally wanted to embarrass him. Let me see the ranking of the two geniuses in your star region. The Five Poisons old geezer went to check the trial situation of the Pale Blue Star region. Mu Ning, not bad, he's ranked 19th. It's a pity that such a genius was born in the Pale Blue Star region. Jiang Xi, ha. This little guy is really something. He's ranked more than 10 million. Old Wei, is this the genius of the Pale Blue Star region? The Five Poisons old geezer looked shocked. Some other Dao integration powerhouses also laughed. Anyway, they were just there to watch the fun. Of course, they saw Jiang Xi's trial situation. In the finals of the 9 regions genius battle, it was rare to see someone not working hard. As for the feud between Wei Sheng and the Five Poisons old geezer, many of the Dao integration powerhouses present knew about it. Humph. With a sullen face, Wei Sheng's body flickered and he went somewhere else. This little guy dares to be passive and slack off in the finals. When the trial is over, I must teach him a good lesson. Soon, more than a month passed. In the illusory space of the Qingyun Dao, Jiang Xi was in the second trial space of the first Qingyun Dao. The trial space was a world of flames. The target of the trial was a strange life form, the flame giant, which did not belong to the demon race. A mature flame giant could easily eat a star and was extremely powerful. However, there were 100 flame giants who were at the perfected nascent soul realm and were not mature. Although they were stronger than most human cultivators who were at the perfected nascent soul realm, they were still no match for Jiang Xi. 99 of them had already been killed by Jiang Xi, leaving only one flame giant that was bound by the power of the domain and roaring continuously. Jiang Xi was silently chanting at the side, deduce, deduce, deduce. The deduction of the Gale domain and distant fire domain was carried out at the same time. Suddenly, in a trance, Riverward sensed that something had descended. However, it was not in the Heavenspan Mountain River diagram, but in the outside world. Blue Planet, Daoda Manor, Training Room. The nascent soul in Jiang Xi's lower dantian emitted an invisible wave, which connected with the invisible wave descending from heaven and earth. A wisp of dark redly fire suddenly appeared in the nascent soul's left palm. He had broken through. You have comprehended the Tao of Fire. Experience points plus 10 million, at the same time, the EXP panel beeped. Jiang Xi was pleasantly surprised, but he didn't make any big movements on the surface. He knew that the two immortals and Tao integration experts could see the situation in the illusory space. Previously, I spent a huge amount of experience points and spent a long time on it, but I was still unable to succeed. To think that I would succeed in just a month. That being said, Riverward also knew that this was the result of a qualitative change due to a quantitative change. Deducing the Gale domain and Ignis domain has cost more than 2.6 billion EXP. That's 1.3 billion EXP on average. 1.3 billion EXP, this kind of consumption was not small. Besides, that was only one type of breakthrough. The Gale domain had yet to be broken through, that's not all. There's also the Sword domain, which is even more difficult to deduce. The Sword domain was a special level Dermic Dao. If he wanted to deduce the next realm, he would probably need a massive amount of EXP. He secretly opened the EXP panel to check. Cultivation level, Nascent Soul, Late Stage 1, 06 million/1. 06 million, Dermic Dao, Dao of Fire, 15 million, Gale Domain, 5,000,000/5,000,000, Sword Domain, 10,000,000/10,000,000, Amplitude, 200 Deduction, 10,000 EXP once Cultivation Method, Purple Cloud Sword Sutra, Peacock Visualization Experience Points, 920. 88 million. I only have more than 900 million EXP left. It's still not enough. Jiang Xi shook his head and did not dwell on this issue. Instead, he focused his attention on the Tao of Fire that he had just broken through. He was still undergoing the Qingyun Tao trial, and improving his strength was his top priority. 50 million EXP for upgrading is still acceptable. Jiang Xi heaved a sigh of relief. He was afraid that he would have to spend tens of billions of EXP for upgrading. Now that he had broken through, the next step was to improve his dermic Tao. However, there was now a problem. He was in the state of a spiritual body in the Tongtian Mountain River painting. His body outside was in the midst of meditation and cultivation, so he couldn't move. In other words, he couldn't provide a large amount of spiritual energy by eating spiritual fruits. In that case, it would be impossible to increase the EXP of the Tao of Fire in a short period of time. My current cultivation level is at the perfected nascent soul realm, and the maximum amount of EXP that I can gain every day is 4,200 points. Experience points are magical. It's different from the experience points gained from killing monsters in games. Without the assistance of spiritual energy, I can increase my experience points. Even if I'm at the perfected nascent soul realm, my body can only withstand so much EXP every day. However, in terms of dermic Tao, I can increase it by 8,400 EXP every day. Thinking of this, Jiang Xi laughed. It was because of a battle that happened a long time ago. When he first embarked on the path of martial arts, he had a battle with Shen Quan in Pak Sun Province on Earth. At that time, he used the EXP panel to improve his martial arts techniques because he had improved too much in a short period of time. It exceeded the limit that his mental consciousness could bear and he almost died. When he woke up, he discovered that the limit of his mental endurance had increased. The daily EXP increase in his martial arts techniques had become twice that of his level. Even if his martial arts techniques evolved into dermic Tao, the multiplier remained the same and had always existed. I didn't expect that my desperate efforts in the early years would come in handy now. Now, he could use all the 8,400 EXP that he could gain every day to improve the Tao of Fire. He would improve it step by step and see how far he could go in the Qingyun Tao trial. Soon, Jiang Xi persisted for 30 days in the second trial space of the first Qingyun Tao trial. He killed the roaring flame giant with one sword and passed the trial. You have passed the second trial of the Qingyun Tao, EXP plus 2. 1 million, hearing the prompt, Jiang Xi laughed again. That was the same as the Lingwan Road of the Jade Pool. After each trial was completed, there would be EXP rewards. However, the EXP given here was more. The first trial of the Qingyun Tao gave him 2 million EXP. According to the increase, he would gain 100,000 EXP for each subsequent level. It's a good bonus. I'll definitely get more at the end. Jiang Xi was even more motivated as he stepped on the next step. The space changed and the trial scene this time was a world of rugged rocks. Trial taker, please kill 100 golden-winged condors within 30 days. 100 massive golden-winged condors suddenly appeared in the air, each with a wingspan of tens of thousands of feet. They covered the sky and emitted a menacing aura as they pounced on Jiang Xi. Let's see my strength after the breakthrough first. Chapter 322. The golden-winged rock condor has the top bloodline of the demon race. Rumor has it that it's the descendant of the golden-winged rock. Jiang Xi held the killing shadow sword and charged forward. The Tao runes that were filled with the light of Li fire instantly spread to a radius of 1,000 kilometers. The Tao of Li fire descended. The Tao of Li fire that had just broken through was integrated into Jiang Xi's sword. Whoosh, the dark red sword shadow that was 100,000 feet long roared and swept out. It killed more than half of the golden-winged rock condors with one strike. Not bad, it's very strong. Although the experience of the Tao of Li Fire did not increase by much, it did not even reach the first level. However, after changing from the Li Fire domain to the Tao of Li Fire, the attribute of the Tao of Li Fire had undergone a qualitative change. Under the blessing of the Tao runes, the power of his sword increased sharply. The Tao of Li Fire is a rare Tao technique. If the experience of the Tao technique is higher, my ranking in the finals will be higher. Jiang Xi's eyes were glowing. Next, he would continue to improve his Tao technique experience using the time of each level of the Qingyun Tao trial. On the green jade platform in the purple clouds continent of the Tongtian Mountain River diagram. When Wei Sheng saw the scene of Jiang Xi killing dozens of golden-winged rock condors with one sword, his sullen face finally eased a little. However, in the next moment, the expression on his face stiffened again. It was because Jiang Xi had once again repeated the rhythm of the first two levels of the trial space. He only left a golden-winged rock condor behind and then began to cultivate again, this little guy. Wei Sheng was a little helpless. Of course, he discovered that Jiang Xi had already broken through and comprehended a rare Tao of heaven and earth. Although he was surprised, he was also puzzled. Since he had already broken through, shouldn't he go all out and rush up? If he continued to cultivate using the time of each level of the trial, he shouldn't be able to improve much, right? Cultivating a rare Tao of heaven and earth, even if one's talent and comprehension were high, it would take a decade or 100 years to improve. What could the Qingyun Tao do in such a short amount of time? Besides, there were so many people watching, couldn't he perform well and be more proactive? Wei Sheng had indeed been feeling uncomfortable during this period of time because the five poisons had been using Jiang Xi's negative attitude towards the competition and mocked him from time to time. Even though everyone knew that Jiang Xi was cultivating, Jiang Xi was still cultivating. But as an enemy, the five poisons ghost did not care so much. The only one who made Wei Sheng feel better was another genius from the Kanglin Star region, Mu Ning. He's working hard and is about to enter the top 10. Outside, on the pale blue planet. The huge painting of mountains and rivers hanging in the sky only showed the ranking of the Qingyun Tao trial. That genius called Ji Wei is too terrifying. Others are still working hard on the first two Qingyun paths, but he's already challenging the fourth one. Mu Ning from our Kanglin Star region is also not bad. He ranked 13th in the trial. By the way, what's Jiang Xi's ranking? I haven't seen him for a long time. I remember he was counting down last month. When everyone looked around and found that Jiang Xi was still at the bottom of the list, they immediately became lively. It can't be. The hope and glory of the blue planet have been destroyed just like that. I don't believe it. With Jiang Xi's strength, even if he wanted to hide, he should have rushed into the top 10,000 by now, right? He's already in the bottom 10,000. It seems that the glory of the blue planet still has to be fought for by Feng Si of the Zhangyin sect. He has already rushed into the top 10,000. For a moment, there was a flurry of discussion. There were all kinds of guesses whether they believed in Jiang Xi or not Jiang Xi. Of course, most of them didn't believe it. Due to the fact that they couldn't see the specific scene of the trial, everyone could only judge the situation of the trial based on the rankings. Hence, many people thought that Jiang Xi's previous performance in the division battle might have been short-lived. Now that it was the finals, his strength couldn't keep up with the countless geniuses of the 9 regions, soaring Rainbow Planet. Yuan Zhangshua happily drank 3 cups of wine, and his hearty laughter echoed throughout the entire palace. Good. Just like that, I'll stay at the bottom. The lower, the better. He was now full of hatred for Jiang Xi. The reason was simple. He didn't know who it was, but someone spread the news that he had a conflict with Jiang Xi. Now, his competitors in the Soaring Rainbow sect were all using this matter to attack him and take the opportunity to weaken his strength. If the sect leader wasn't his great-grandfather, he would have been kicked out of the list of successors by now. And the source of all this was because of River Word. In the blink of an eye, it was the second year of the Qingyun Tao trial. 12. 96 million people basically passed the first Qingyun Dao trial. The second Qingyun Dao trial became a watershed. Almost every trial space could eliminate at least 1 million people. By the time they reached the third Qingyun Dao trial, there were only more than 800,000 people left in the trial. The competition for the ranking of the trial was also extremely intense. In particular, the top 10 places were constantly changing. Except for Ji Wei. This terrifying genius had already rushed to the 6th Qingyun Dao trial. The second place was still in the 4th, he was 2 major ranks ahead. It was almost certain that he was the first place in the trial. However, the most speechless thing was that Jiang Xi, who was crawling slowly in the Qingyun Dao trial like a snail, was actually still alive. He had already reached the 3rd step of the second Qingyun Dao trial. His ranking in the trial had also climbed from more than 10 million to more than 8 million. On the huge green jade platform of the Purple Clouds continent, silhouettes appeared one after another. They were all people who had been eliminated by the Qingyun Dao trial and had reappeared there. Many of them seemed to have just taken an exam and were comparing their answers. Which step were you eliminated at? I was at the 4th step. The soul-devouring ants of this Qingyun Dao trial are too strong. I died as soon as the battle began. We're the same then. I'm also at the 4th step and I killed more than 30 soul-devouring ants. Oh, I'm at the 4th step of the 3rd Qingyun Dao trial. Damn it, I'm second. After everyone compared their results, they turned their attention to the ranking of the trial. Due to the fact that only the 2 immortals and those Dao integration powerhouses could check each illusory space. Hence, the eliminated geniuses could only pay attention to the trial of others through the ranking. The people of the Kanglan Star region naturally paid attention to Mu Ning and Jiang Xi, the 2 representative geniuses. Then, they discovered the abnormality of Jiang Xi's ranking in the trial. They quickly deduced the total time taken to pass the trial and the rank of the Qingyun Dao trial. Jiang Xi persisted for 30 days in each step of the trial in the Qingyun Dao trial before passing it. This guy wants to use this time to cultivate and make a breakthrough. He's already very strong. Using the rules to waste time like this is too embarrassing. There are so many powerhouses watching. Their discussion attracted the attention of the people from the other star regions. Hence, Jiang Xi's name spread among the geniuses of the various star regions. Soon, almost all the people who had been eliminated found out. There was a genius with good strength in this 9 regions genius battle. He was using the trial time of the finals to cultivate. Such a situation was rare. Everyone immediately became interested and began to pay attention to Jiang Xi. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.